performances, but the whole team is just putting a performance as well. And I'm looking to see an NA. Come on. I think Dave ended up saying at the end of phase one, if NA wasn't on top, he was going to shave his mustache.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. Mustache Dave, how you feeling? Hey. Maybe if we see an NA team on top, you lose 5 pounds by shaving that thing off. What do we think?
I don't recall saying any of that, but regardless, we'll see. North America always rooting for the boys, and talking to a couple of them, they already got a new game plan for week number 2. So I'm feeling pretty confident in the region here this week.
Can't wait to dive into that here in just a moment, but I do want to dive into the format here in just a moment. We talked a little bit about it into the intro of the show. Week 1 was all about securing points for each and every one of the teams. We had Alpha 7 finish on top after week 1. They're going to take 15 head start points into the finals. We had 9Z and Intense Game finishing second and third. So let's look at what the format looks like for this week as we enter round 2. You can see it there, June 15th through 17th. We've got another week of trying to secure those head start points. We've got 16 teams battling it out. You can see 5 from NA, 5 from LATAM, and 6 from Brazil. And so far, the Brazilians have had the upper hand in the lobby. And don't forget to put the finals on your calendar now. They're coming up June 20th through June 22nd. We've got 6 matches on the docket for today. Teams are going to be getting awarded, as I've mentioned, head start points based on their rank after this league phase concludes. You'd see in each match today, we've got our traditional match placement points, where first place will be taking home 10 points, second gets 6, third gets 5th, on down through 1 point in 8th place. Teams finishing in 9th through 16th will not receive anything. We also have 1 point per elimination today, so it pays to be aggressive. Now, the head start points are points that teams will take forward as a bonus for their consistency, and they'll be taking those into the PMSL Americas Grand Finals. So let's check in on our overall standings to see how we ended up after our first week of play. 7 Worlds. Alpha 7 was your team coming in, and they did not disappoint in week 1.
Yeah, they didn't disappoint, especially with the addition of Squash. Everybody was wondering how this team was going to be doing. They were insane. Another team, though, that kind of popped off, especially on day 3, was 9C, being able to push up all the way to 2nd place. And the team that was able to bounce back here from the left side, Dave, before I send it over to you, was Team Liquid and Inco Gaming. For me, Team Liquid on day 1, they slowed down massively. On day 2 and 3, we finally start seeing the likes of Team Liquid that we expect to do in Inco Gaming, putting up a good performance here, at least top 8 for NA.
Yeah, Inco was a big one. I mean, we saw McGrellin almost with that 1v3, I believe, 2 days ago, which was pretty exciting. And yeah, PB, 9Z just really clutching it out there. And the last 2 matches, really, to be able to overthrow Intense Game, like you said, for those total points, to be able to secure themselves those 12 advancement points. Much crucial points here as we head into the finals. But we are in week number 2, and a lot of people are saying Alpha 7, is it going to be another week for this squad in particular, or will we see some new kings at the top?
A beautiful thing about this format is every other team, well, we're now on an even playing field heading into week 2, but let's look at the head start points that were locked in last week by all 16 of our teams. And as mentioned, Alpha 7 finishing on top for the week. They'll take 15 points into the grand finals starting June 20th. We've got 9Z with 12, Intense Game with 9. And as you can see, every team getting at least 1 head start point, so no one feels left out. But the big gaps are between first and second, second and third, and then everything below third place is pretty comparable, right? 1 point separating each of those places, if that. And so this week, we turn our attention to round 2, which kicks off today. We've got a clean slate. We've got no points for any team right now, and they'll be trying to rack those up because head start points are once again on the line. So with that, 7, you mentioned 9Z had an incredible start, or I guess finish to the week. Day 3, they absolutely crushed it and jumped over Intense Game, who had been rock solid on day 1 and 2. And I'd love to take a look at their play as we kind of get ready to put them up against, the top team from NA at this point. So 7, walk us through, 9Z and what they did correctly, especially on day 3.
Yeah, I mean, let's even take it first back to day 1, because I feel like that's when we started seeing, that's when I got a little bit scared, especially for 9Z. And it was their performances when it came down to Miramar. It was 14th place average finish on those two Miramars on day 1. 0 eliminations, not what we're expecting out of the team. On day 2 for Miramar, they were able to bounce back. They ended up getting a 3rd place, and on top of that, 1 chicken dinner and a total of 19 eliminations between those matches. On day 3, it wasn't even just their Miramar. It was just consistency across the board when it came down to Erangel. But on Miramar as well, they were continuing to be consistent. They ended up getting 1 win, a 7th place finish, and being able to get those 14 eliminations as well. So overall for this team, I'm enjoying the improvement that we saw from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 when it came to Miramar, and overall the consistency that we were able to see in Erangel as well. And I mean, you can see there, Inco Gaming, I got a chance to mention them earlier as well, being able to put up good performances, Dave. That team ended up with 65 eliminations.
Not too bad. All I know is, like PB said, clean slate here. So I'm looking at teams like Inco, pretty much all the North America teams to really capitalize and bounce back here this week. You know, learn from those mistakes. And Inco, they were like a mid-pack team, so they did fairly decent, but kind of used that as like a stepping stool to continue to improve on their play styles and their strategies here in week number 2, because a lot of these players, they told me they had a lot of jitters. You know, they just got to the LAN, they're feeling out the phones, the devices, the environment, but all that should all be sorted out now. So everybody is locked in here for week number 2.
Well, we had a chance to see our best team from NA so far, which has been Inco Gaming, the best team from LATAM, which is 9Z at this point. Pretty big gap between those two teams, but an even bigger gap between the best team from LATAM and the best team from Brazil. And the best team from Brazil has undoubtedly been Alpha 7. They've doubled up on every other team in the lobby except for 2, 3, and 4. And check out the MVP rankings here. They've been led by Revo. Absolutely incredible performance from him. This is the best individual performance I've seen at any level of play in PUBG Mobile. He's nearly doubled up the elims from the number 2 elim player in the lobby, which is also Squash, on the same team. And then you've got Mafioso in 5th place. I mean, this is an absolutely scary squad, 7.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's one of the main things for this squad that people need to be able to adjust to. And that is making sure that if you do come across Alpha 7, you try to actually get a full flush elimination on one of the players from Alpha 7. Because right now, out of the top 5 teams of the most survival time on the 18 matches that we had in Phase 1, we have 4 players from Alpha 7 on those top 5. So it kind of goes back to with what I was saying on Phase 1, that team has gotten so good at being there for the trade, so good at being there to being able to pick up their teammates, that somebody needs to be able to stop them. If you do it, for the teams out there that want to stop Alpha 7, if you do get a knock, try to make sure you get that flush.
100%. Well, hey, we've hit the top 3 teams, obviously, from each of the regions. We've got Alpha 7. We've got 9Z from LATAM. We also mentioned Inco from NA. But one of the other NA teams that's looking to turn things around this week, and they might have the talent to do it, is Shoot to Survive. They had a really good regional qualifier coming into this tournament for the Titan Series, but now they've got to get things going for the PMSL Americas 2025. We've got a nice little interview lined up with Bob, so let's hear what he had to say.
Guys, it's the end of day 3. Here we are with Bob from S2S. A good match. It was a tough end there. We got a bit split, I guess, and Alpha 7 just went for it. They're doing great. How do you feel about the match?
I feel like it was our best match of the tournament so far, so we did pretty good. Could have been better, but we had a good zone, got some kills, so a little bit of confidence for hopefully next week.
Yeah, 7 kills, so that's great. Going to next week, do you guys think you're gonna change something? What's the game plan there?
Definitely pick up the aggression last game. Kind of felt like got a little momentum going, but definitely have to look at the way some of these teams play, because it's a lot different than we're used to.
It's the Americas. It's something else, right?
Yeah.
Bob, best of luck. See you on Sunday.
Yep.
We'll see you on Sunday as well.
Great words of wisdom from Bob. They're going to try to make things a bit more aggressive in their words, but Shoot to Survive, definitely a talented squad. So I got to ask Dave,
yes, sir,
how are these guys going to get the momentum rolling this week? What do they got to do to change things up and get back on top?
all about that momentum. Shout out to Big Bob right there, by the way. I mean, my dude's a goat in his own right. So, yeah, Shoot to Survive used to be known as Dauntless, one of the staples here in North America, and now they're at LAN. So we were talking about week 1 to week 2. This team in particular, they told me those jitters were really getting to them. So now that that's out the way, we kind of heard right there from Bob, who also told me they're going to pump up the aggression here on week number 2. They're going to try to take up a lot more space on the map here in week number 2. And most importantly, the one thing that I really enjoyed reading from them when they were kind of telling me their play style and strategies, they're going to play a lot more together as a cohesive unit, as a team, compared to week 1, where they're kind of out there running and gunning, doing their own thing. You know, someone's scouting over there, another person's still looting. So I think the fact that they realize that they need to play a little closer together and have that synergy going here in week number 2 is good. It's good for North America, and high hopes for Shoot to Survive here, week number 2, PB.
Love to see it. Well, hey, all these teams are going to be competing this week in league phase, or phase 2, I guess, phase 1. Jiminy Christmas. Week 2 of league phase to go to the grand finals. I will get that out clearly one of these times. But after the grand finals, 3 teams will be moving on, and they are going to the Esports World Cup. And so with that, we'll be playing the maps today. We've got Sandhawk kicking off things first for match 19. We've got 1 map in the jungle. Then we'll follow that up with 3 on Erangel and 2 on Miramar. This gives teams, in my opinion, an opportunity to change strategies and maybe execute while it's still fresh in your mind. 7 Worlds, let me know what you think about the tactics I think that some of these teams are going to take into the match today.
Yeah, I think for Sandhawk, I'm looking forward to maybe seeing a different region being able to pick up a win during that match, because right now it has been fully dominated by Brazil. The first day, it was Alpha 7. The second day, it was none other than Intense Game. And then the last day, on that final day of phase 1, it ended up being Alpha 7 as well. So I want to see if maybe some of the other teams, whether it's from LATAM or whether it's from NA, if they might be able to just pick up one of those wins. We have seen NA being able to win already in Erangel, and we have obviously seen LATAM being able to win in Miramar. So it might be a change here in phase 2.
100%. Miramar being my favorite map in the rotation. It was exciting yesterday. Make sure you guys stick around for the whole broadcast today to see that one coming up in just a bit. And Dave,
what up?
Some of the teams looked like a different squad on that map, on Miramar coming in yesterday. It's like you've got 3 kind of distinct personalities with Sandhawk in the jungle, getting those guns warmed up a little bit. I saw some great performances there yesterday, and Alpha 7 coming out with a nice dub in that one. But, what do these teams need to do to kick things off in a good way to get that momentum going at the very start of today?
All I know is hopefully they did some VOD review right yesterday, because talk about a momentum killer is getting hot dropped and losing right off the rip. You're warmed up, you're juiced up, you're ready to game it out here today. I'm talking about the hot drops we saw in Sandhawk. It was X-Force and Alpha 7, and then Shoot to Survive and IG. Remember those hot drops on Sandhawk? Both of the North America teams lost on those hot drops. So hopefully they can avoid that here, PB, not get wiped out early, and just get some good placement points on Sandhawk. That's all we need. And that will be a step in the right direction of getting that momentum going here today.
Love to hear it. One of the teams I do want to talk about and kind of maybe peek into just a bit before we jump into the jungle is the Wolves. Yesterday, kind of a hit or miss day. We had some spotty performances, some late game, I don't want to say heroics, but Coops kind of showing up towards the end in certain cases, trying to carry the team some, but then also getting eliminated early in some games as well, maybe pushing a bit recklessly at times. I'm going to come to you, Seven. What do we think the Wolves need to tighten up on today to hopefully perform as the best team in NA, which many think that they are?
Boy, I'm ready to talk about Wolves. I'm happy you threw me this one. First of all, Coops, keep being you, baby. Even if you end up overextending, you're truly carrying the team, so the team is not going to be allowed to tell you a damn thing. For some of the other players from the team, it is time to step up. Doran has been able to step up in regards to eliminations and being able to put up that Illims. There's one main player that really comes to mind, especially when it comes to Wolves esports, and it's going to be Juancho. Because Juancho, I'm not really sure based on the stats what role he's currently playing. Because yeah, usually if you're not going to be fragging out, you expect somebody to be able to be high when it comes to the damage, high when it comes to the assists. But right now, Juancho has the least team eliminations, has the least assists, has the least damage, considering that he has more average survival time than Coops. So that's one player that I really want to see them step it up here when it comes to phase 2. And I think Wolves is just one win away from just finding their stride, especially with Coops being able to get hot. We know what he can do when he gets in situations towards the end of the game if the team allows him to. And we already seen what the team could do if they actually get themselves into a top 5 situation. They ended up with more than 10 eliminations, or I think at least 10 eliminations in the Erangel match towards the South Military. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Wolves, and especially Juancho, how they're going to be improving in this phase 2.
That's a really good point. And one of the things that I've noticed with the Wolves is you've got Coops that's always scouting. He's the guy on the point, making the advances for the team. And I feel it's almost like a rubber band effect where you've got the two in the middle led by Doran, and you've got kind of Juancho in the rear almost. When they get into fights, I feel like there's two different distinct phases of the fight that's happening. You've got 1 to 3 players that are getting involved at the end, and then Juancho trying to come up with some heroic play at the end to keep this team in it. He's been close a couple of times, but it's tough to get on the board with those elims when you're going 1v3 up against another squad that's crashing on you. And while we almost got some highlight reel plays from him, and it was really close, it just wasn't meant to be for the Wolves. And so I'm hoping that today they can tighten things up a little bit and attack as a squad, 4-on-4 with another team instead of being in a 3v4 situation despite having 4 players alive. So that's kind of what I've noticed from my end. Dave, I don't know about you, if you've seen anything from the Wolves or maybe any of the other NA teams that you think might want to change things up this week.
No, I mean, totally agree with Seven. Coops keep doing the Coops thing here. It's looking good. But I just personally want to see the team play a little closer to Coops, to be able to provide that support for him to do what he wants to do. And I guess kind of going back to the whole topic of scouting and whatnot, Juancho, maybe let Juancho be the frontline scout, get the information. And if Juancho gets spotted, tagged and bagged, we can still put something together, Every player has their tournament, but with Coops always being in the front lines, doing the initial scouting, it's real risky, right? Because that's your star player. And if they get taken out early, then what? Then what are we doing over here? So yeah, it's really it's a catch-22, but hopefully moving into week number 2, starting today, we see a lot more from our Wolves team, because I know a lot of people got high hopes for this squad.
Love to see it. Well, hey, I will say with the Wolves, having Coops out front, definitely risky, but part of the benefit of that is he's got like that, almost like a computer for a brain. Like he's able to make those reads. And while sometimes it is the wrong decision, most of the time it's the right decision. And that's why he's always on top with regards to elims and damage, etc. So while like we saw yesterday, mistakes were made, got a little overzealous in one push, most of the time that's not the case. So again, kind of live and die by the sword if you're the Wolves. But let's talk about X-Force a little bit. They were a bit quiet in day 3 and honestly for all of week 1. I want to see if they can switch things up this week, because this is a team with a lot of potential. We did see them secure the first chicken dinner for the NA region, and I want to maybe take a peek at the the X-Force team if we can actually do that and get a little highlight for them.
Yes, so my team consists of 5 players. Myself, the IGL. Fate is our free man. 24 is our main fragger. Elim is our support, and then Free Point is our other fragger.
With this new roster, I think it could go either way, honestly. I think we can have a chance to perform if, the right pieces form together. I think we are going to have a different play style as well, especially because we have a new IGL. I wouldn't be IGLing. I would be more focused on fragging out. So we'll see what happens.
I'm happy to be in Brazil again, so I'm feeling good and we are ready.
I feel good to be playing in America again, playing with Fate.
Мне нравится моя команда, хоть и у нас есть языковой барьер. Я не очень хорошо говорю по-английски, но я думаю, мы сможем победить.
Yeah, so this is my first time in Brazil being at LAN. I'm really excited. Obviously, I've played against these teams in the past online, but to be at LAN for the first time is really exciting.
I feel pretty excited, honestly. I think it's my third time coming to Brazil, and I am playing for a different organization, different players except for 24. So it's a familiar feeling, but at the same time a new one because I am with a different roster. So yeah,
I've been playing with him a long time, so it's easy to play with him.
Both regions are so hard because in Europe we have both Team Spirit, and here also we have Alpha 7 and Team Liquid.
Love hearing from the players directly as they get ready for our first game of the day. Remember, we're jumping into Sandhawk and 7. It seems like there might be some chemistry that they've got to continue to build. Obviously, they've got 24K and Fate that are familiar playing with each other, but the rest, they're still working on gelling is what it sounds like. Guys, let's go to predictions for our first game. 7, who do you see taking home the winner chicken dinner here on Sandhawk?
I'm going to do it, and I'm just going to get it out of the way. Alpha 7.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The suspense is killing me, Dave. What about you?
Let's go Alpha 7. Great pick here to start week number 2. I'm going to go with Team Liquid. I think Team Liquid, they got that experience in the pocket. They've been here before, and they're looking for a great start right out the gate here.
I love it. I love both picks. I'm going to go with the boys over at 9Z, riding a beautiful bit of momentum. And if you guys missed the Amazon gift card, it was on the screen just a moment ago. Rewind your stream, grab that code, and take it to redeem for some nice credit at Amazon. All right, here we go. We've got day number 4 of the PUBG Mobile PMSL America's spring season kicking off, and it is Sandhawk. 7, take it away.
I'm enjoying already what X-Force is going to be doing. Remember, X-Force, you got a chance to mention it too, Dave, in regards to them ended up accidentally hot dropping with Alpha 7 on the final day. And that was because previously that team was hot dropping Influence Rage in boot camp. They won that engagement in day 1. In day 2, they lost it very, very bad. So I'm really glad that they're now being able to adjust. And it looks like hopefully nobody is going to be near them, and they're not going to be forced into a hot drop. So that is good to see for that team. For Wolves, they're going to be spread out towards the north. And one team that did surprise me a little bit last week was Row 19. This team ended up being top 6 with a lot of eliminations, with good plays here and there. So I'm hoping that that momentum is also going to continue. We're talking about Shoot to Survive earlier, Dave. They're finding themselves up against IG.
Boom, there we go. Right out the gate. Gonna be getting 1-2 knocks. Little lean peek action with the AKM. I hear a couple of vectors downrange from IG, so you got to be cautious of that one. But it's not looking too good here, fellas. Casper has no gun. That's no gun, hiding behind the bell right there. IG
Details,
pretty low as well. When it comes to like ammo or whatnot, we can see them kind of scrambling. But honestly, Casper could play such a crucial role, right, and win this engagement for the squad. But just stuck with nothing here, PB.
I mean, who needs a gun? I mean, I feel like those are just details. I mean, great job there by Klaus to get the angle. Unfortunately, he turned his back to the enemy and gets gunned down and eliminated. And now, Casper, those details starting to matter, as the gun would be very handy in this situation, not able to support the teammate at all. And it looks like intense game, despite having 2 down to start this game. Wow, they're in a good spot. All of them survive, and they get 3 points to boot, and Casper's got to fall away. It looked great there to start things off for Shoot to Survive, but they just kind of, didn't deliver when the pressure was on there, 7.
Yeah, and it's such a tough spot to kind of get into a hot drop. You only have 2 main buildings that you're gonna have some cover with, and then on top of that, you have I guess you have a bit of a POI there towards the middle, but that's just gonna be exposed, so you're not really gonna be able to fully push out and loot up like Casper. Casper was waiting for the longest time, looking for an opening. A team that I was talking about earlier, Royals of War, Victus, trying to stay alive. Somehow, he is going to be able to find some cover here. I'm not quite sure yet who was the team that was shooting at him. And the X-Force, I was talking about maybe they're not going to find themselves into a hot drop, but they are going to find themselves going up against Inco Gaming as Fate gets eliminated. And the team, more than likely, is going to be looking to back up here or maybe continue with the fight. X-Force, for this situation, you know what, let's start phase 2 with the great moment here. Let's start phase 2 with momentum, which is what we're all about here in the English broadcast for PMSL Americas. Back away from this fight. Don't just don't do it.
All about that momentum, and they are going to be subbing in Free Point here, at least for today. We didn't see Free Point last week, if I do believe so. So Free Point trying to run away, trying to avoid the barrels of Inco after their one elimination point to already get their day kick-started here right now. So I'm pretty happy that I know we saw, you know, earlier S2S, but I'm pretty happy that we're not seeing any hot drops. I know as a viewer and as a caster, you love it, right? That violence. But as a player, I mean, we talk about momentum and just losing right off the rip 2 minutes into the game. That has to be such a momentum killer, but we'll have to get back to that because intense game. They're going to be finding themselves in another skirmish here, PB.
I like it. Intense game. Well, I don't like that. Adrian gets destroyed, but hey, Royals of War are taking it to him. The interesting thing I was going to say is these guys got zone. This is a massive fight right now because the circle went up to that Camp Alpha northwestern island. So this is a battle for real estate right now. Royals of War getting the upper hand. IG up the hill right now getting pushed back. Intense game fresh off a victory over Shoot to Survive on the mountaintop. But as they move out, getting challenged more and more, and now Padrino's down, and that is massive for Intense Game because Padrino is the number 3 overall fragger in the entire tournament. So this is a big loss for IG, and Royals of War looking to take advantage of it, Seven.
This is perfect for Royals of War. I'm really enjoying it. This looks like a team that is currently aware of everything that's going on. They realized that they were able to eliminate some players from IG. They know where IG usually end up hot dropping. So that's why now they're making the push up this mountain towards the northwest island and trying to just get more ground, especially with the circle that we're currently working with. By the way, Valak was a player that really stood out for me in phase 1 for X-Force. It's always Fate. It's always 24K. Valak, standout performance from this player. The second most eliminations for X4 at 14 elims. And one thing that I really enjoy out of this player is that it's not only the elims that he's being able to put up, it's the angles that he's been able to put up for his team. He's currently the most assists for the squad as well. I'm hoping that continues on because if Fate picks up some more steam, if he's able to maintain that play that we're seeing out of him, and if 24K as well, I think X-Force, we might be looking at some more chicken dinners this phase 2,
Love
PB.
to see it. Yeah.
Dave, I got to ask you a question. I feel like X-Force, you know, they subbed in Free Point, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
who did they come in for? Was it Aleem that he came in for?
So. I believe so. Yep.
I like the move, honestly, from them because Free Point's a bit of a streaky player and he's on more often than he's off. I feel like he's a guy that could get some momentum going for this squad. We saw him in several of the qualifier tournaments leading up to this, really doing an excellent job for the team. And I like the move right here. And not only that, but X-Force has gotten the zone. So obviously they're going up against Royals of War right now. Valak getting to the position first in that upper spot to eliminate Padrino. That's got to tip off, you know, Royals of War like, hey, there's more teams here that you need to potentially worry about. So I definitely want to keep my eye on X-Force here as they get ready to defend this little bit of land.
Yeah, great call out right there. I mean, it's unfortunate that they already lost one of their squad mates here to kind of kickstart their map number 1. But Free Point, yeah, those events leading up to this particular lobby, Free Point has found themselves in some difficult situations, you know, some 1v3s, some 1v2s, and actually walked away the victor. So, you know, it's always impressive. And Free Point is classified as a gunner, you know, as a fragger for the squad. So it looks like they were trying to call in some more gunpowder here moving into week number 2 to kind of go along with their game plan of being a little more aggressive and trying to get involved a lot more earlier on here. And we're seeing it right now. You know, game number 1, they're getting into some skirmishes, and yeah, they lost one, but hey, they're looking good. Like you guys both said, already won elimination. So an even Steven trade. But guys, VIP Esports, man, I was hoping if there was ever a team that did like some serious VOD review, it was them. They went for the boat tape, but now they're out here swimming. They're still alive though. You love. Listen, I'm not gonna get on it too early. Fresh week. Yep. Everybody's starting from zero. VIP, I'm a big fan. Trust me. The swimming out there though, we'll see. We'll see what happens. They got loops hot on their case, so it's gonna be a challenging swim here, fellas.
I think they're gonna have to wait for maybe loops or wolves, depending on where they end up going, to just get distracted with something going on actually in the island and hope that they're gonna be able to move on. But yeah, I think I'm with you as well, Dave. I think it's a little bit too early with this Sandhawk madness too. If we were to kind of nitpick the Botate, it will be maybe Botate a little bit early. Then that's the only nitpicking I feel like that we can do here. For Alpha 7, this is just their usual play that we're gonna be looking at. Scouting, taking their sweet time. That's a team that can play in the center of the circle. That's a team that's very well known for playing on the edge. And for VIP, no. I mean, at this point, Dave, it's not looking good. Loops is not going to be distracted anytime soon.
Shooting fish in the ocean. Brady, got him. Rafina going to be connecting on to Brady. So, yeah, it looks like their boat was spotted. They had to ditch the boat and kind of go for that swim strap. Unfortunate for them, Loops, they got their eye on the targets, and looking around Loops, there's not really a team that can third party this one, at least for the time being. So Loops, they're just going to have some easy, I mean, these are the easiest points you could ever get here in competitive PUBG Mobile.
It's like shooting fish in the ocean. Freddy comes up for a little, right? It's like Freddy comes up for a little air and immediately gets shot. It's like whack-a-mole out there. So he's going to get gunned down. VIP is not in a spot. You called it the swim strat. I don't know if it's a strategy that they want to really employ too often because it's not working out at the moment. But Loops, they'll take the points. They're going to get some free wins here before they have to focus a bit down south. The circle is going to be closing here shortly as we get into our next stage. A lot of teams getting ready to come across into the upper part of the island. Want to keep our eye on that action as well. But things are interesting right now. Take a peek at the top of the mountain here. We've got Savage Esports and X-Force potentially getting ready to square off. Both just a bit north of Camp Alpha here, and that's pretty key positioning depending on where the zone goes. If it does go to the west, you're going to see a nice little battle for position.
Yeah, I'm enjoying X-Force. Currently just being a little bit patient here, not really trying to showcase their position in Valak. I mean, having that buggy ready as well. I saw him last week being able to be the player that has the off angles. Right now, I'm not sure if maybe with the switch that they did with Free Point, maybe he's going to have to adjust and be a bit more of a scout. Really intrigued to see what's going to happen with that player. But right now, Royals of War, you were mentioning earlier, I remember the fight that we saw with Royals of War, an intense game, and all just Royals of War trying to clear out the whole north before anybody could even transition towards this northwest island. Well, that ended up paying off because right now they do have a lot of control. But with the new circle that has popped up, some of the other teams are going to start pushing up. That positioning that 9C just took could be massive for that team. So I'm wondering if Royals of War is maybe just going to continue to maintain this positioning that they currently have, close up a little bit more, or for some reason try to make a push there towards 9C, because it would be a great play because it is a little bit closer towards the middle of the map, Dave.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you nailed it right there. Great spot. I would like to see somebody either Tonka support Ergon in order to get some, potential third-party pokes out there as teams like Team Liquid and United for Gaming try to rotate into the new circle. And by the way, with the new circle, talk about just the ultimate feels bad. VIP, they were swimming west. The new circle popped and it went all the way to the east. So like the strat there is like, okay, let's just double back where we came from. VIP's still out there swimming. I'll keep you posted on that one because that's the storyline I'm in, and I'm just invested in at this point. But a lot of these teams, AGG, they're still going to be in the blue. They're looking for a late rotate. INF, Alpha 7, they might clash here very shortly. But really, fellas, I mean, 9Z, Loops, they're looking prime here with their power positions in the new circle.
This was a pretty heads-up play from Influence Rage as well as Alpha 7. Both teams a little bit beat up here. That's because they just did clash on the rotation. As soon as the circle popped, it was a hard shift to the north. Alpha 7 immediately backed out and tried to go south into the blue zone, wrapping all the way around to the eastern part of the zone. Brilliant play, brilliant rotation, but their rear car was a bit too slow, and Influence Rage cuts them off. Alpha 7 loses 2 on rotation, and Influence Rage will beat them to the zone. So keep an eye on INF as they've got some elims on the board. And it's beautiful because it's early in the week, so every elim right now, it rockets you up that leaderboard. Just 2 elims puts them all the way up in 4th place right now. So things are starting to look pretty good for them. And X-Force creeps their way into the circle. They were looking really good in the zone, but now, depending on where it shifts, they're going to be battling from the outside in. So they're just watching their back right now, trying to get a few more free ones here against VIP, who it's a last-ditch effort for them to try to swim to circle. But so far, so good. The blue zone comes in, and the countdown starts for VIP 7.
Yeah, X-Force getting a bit unlucky there by VIP and by Loops not being able to just fully flush out all the players from VIP as they were able to catch Valak on that rotation as well. The circle closing in more. A lot of these teams are going to have to be forced to fight here. And the crazy part, too, is that with the circle that we currently have, as we have United for Gaming pushing up on AGG, is that there's still both islands at play. There's still a bridge at play as well. And on top of that, Mystic getting caught there by AGG. He's going to be cleared out. It's only Jocko left alive for United for Gaming. Those teams just hindering each other's chances. But Fran might end up getting picked up, actually, with the song that we're currently doing here. Yeah, just, Fran, you know what? Just give all your heals to Charlie so he can maybe try to make it somehow towards the circle and secure some placement points. Is that right? Am I seeing that right?
Charlie!
Alpha 7 somehow ended up making a push across the bridge, and it's now knocking players from Wolves, Dave?
Yeah, the bridge trolls right there. They're going to be able to send it across that bridge. That's one of the main focal points here. And looks like the Wolves going to be tossed out some smokes, and it does look like Mafioso was spotted. Arillo in the back of the truck. I mean, the position totally compromised here. Let's see, can we get the pickup in the smokes? We got the cover. Okay, oh, talk about just a prime crate right there, blocking the sightlines from Loop. So yeah, they're going to be able to survive just a little longer, but they have multiple teams kind of look in their direction. So to be very careful for them. Loop's over here though, from the north. They're not slowing down anytime soon. They see something that moves, they're taking the shots here, PB.
Goose has got to be upset on that one. I feel like those shots were good, but he just didn't get the significant one to land and drop the opponent, unfortunately for them. And that Alpha 7 push was impressive because they did that as a 2-man. But what I will say right now as we take a peek at the action, 9Z owns this zone. They've got the only compound, they're dead center, and they were able to spread out. Colgo had the bridge at the very start of this this circle enclosement, and they were able to retreat, grab that compound, and now it's looking like they're in a real prime position here to take this victory. But we're down to just 9 teams in this lobby, so we're going to be looking, everyone after the next elimination will be picking up rank points of some kind. Royals of War has had a pretty strong game from the very beginning, but now they find themselves on the edge, but they do enjoy the high ground here. But the nades from the higher ground are going to send them packing, and they are out of here as we go to the top 8, Dave.
Yeah, beautiful push right there from Inko. They recognize there's some opponents in front of them. Instead of risking it, maybe getting cut off by a snake, they just use their utility right there to flush them out. So Inko, they still got one more snake behind them that they're not going to be aware of. It's going to be United for Gaming with their solo trying to survive. But next circle does pop 7. So Inko, they need to get on the move.
They definitely need to get on the move. And this is why I was scratching my head a little bit earlier when I was seeing row 19 just shooting at 9C. I thought they were maybe going to go for that crush because of just the positioning that 9C was going to end up getting. But Gorelin trying to get out of here as he's now starting to get pepper. And you mentioned it, yeah, United for Gaming, that player, Joaco, could end up being a big surprise for this team. With the positioning that 9C currently has, I'm looking for them to start paying a little bit more attention towards what Inko's going to be doing and seeing if they can maybe clear him. That way, they don't really have to worry about much and start focusing more towards the north, because there's just so many teams that they're going to have to focus on. They're going to have to focus on Wolf. They're going to have to focus on Vials Gaming as well. Vials Gaming, depending on where the next zone is going to end up going, that team is now in a prime spot too. They have 3 players inside buildings, and then on top of that, they have Nunez under the bridge as well, just holding off those angles. There you go. United for Gaming, the last player, is going to end up getting eliminated. Let's see what's going to happen here between Inko and 9C, because 9C, if they even get a chance to see Inko, I'm going to be seeing a lot of shooting, PB.
Absolutely. I mean, this right now is coming down to, it looks like 3 teams between Vias Gaming, Loops, and 9Z, and the only reason for that is the hard cover. But the only one of those that's fully in the circle is Vias Gaming, and they're across the river from everyone else. Right now, the fire raining down on 9Z as Inko Gaming crashes on them. It's do or die time now for 9Z, and Inko gets the upper hand. They successfully make entry, and now it's a 3v1 over here against Remix. Remix has got to clutch up. He does. Takes down one. Vitali looking to make entry on the other side, and he gets caught by Remix. Inko is out of here. 9Z will defend, but now the race is on because the blue zone is closed, and we have another hard shift. That's 3 in a row, Dave.
Absolutely, Wall. I mean, Remix, the clutch god right there. Listen, if Remix is going for a dab, you got to give my dude a dab, right? Don't leave him hanging again. So, Colgo, Remix, the deadly duo, still going to be alive, and like you guys said, the Wolves right there in that shack right ahead of them. I did like the Brozen was on the high ground right there, kind of playing oversight, providing the support from above. I think the play was a good play, but Remix with the DBS just coming out on top right there here, 7.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that 9C ended up allowing Inko Gaming to just fully crash, and it seemed like they weren't prepared, even though it looked like they were actually going to be prepared for that fight. Wolves right now just getting paper from an angles. I mean, this is just such a bad position to find yourself in. On top of that, you currently don't have Coops. The team overall has 0 eliminations so far this match. They're hoping that Loops is going to get distracted, but I don't think it's going to happen because Kustasi is currently being able to be that off-angle player, that anchor player. Let's see if Juancho not going to be connecting with any of those nades, and he doesn't really have any smokes to work with. Trying to get that revive. Alpha 7 somehow finding a miracle, getting blessed by the circle here. Those last 2 players left alive, Carrillo and Mafioso, now going to be having to go up against Bios Gaming, PB.
This is crazy. What I'm really looking at is Remix out there in the distance. 9Z went from the strongest position by far in the zone to the weakest, thanks to those hard shifts. So they got absolutely murked by the zone shifts. And now we got Alpha 7 dead center in the circle. They were able to revive once, but Carrillo probably not going to be able to get his teammate up, and everyone knows where he's at right now, and the zone is shrinking. So Loops on the offensive right now. They're going to head in. It's going to come down to 3 teams right now. It's Wolves, it's Loops, and it is Vios Gaming on the bridge, but Vios down a couple of members. It's a 2v3v4 right now. Loops in control, and Gusta goes down. This is getting crazy to end things off. Dave, who you got taking this one?
Absolutely wild right there. Loops kind of getting tunnel vision on Alpha 7, allowing the Wolves to push out and get a knock. They are going to be eliminated, but who am I taking? I'm taking Loops all damn day here, 7.
Yeah, I think with the zone right now, Loops should have every single angle cover. Not only is Vios Gaming going to have to push out as well, they had to make sure they revive the players. If Vios Gaming wants to be able to do anything here, they have to make sure they at least get 2 players over the other side of the bridge. There you go. This is the opening. Vios Gaming, this is the opening that you need to have. They're going to realize that there's nobody else left on the left side, jumping over and at least getting some cover from that bridge. And then you sell the grenades. He was within nade range. So now it goes from looking like it was going to be an easy win for Loops to Vios Gaming. It's not even a Loops throw, Dave. It's actually Vios Gaming doing the absolute best play possible in the situation that they were truly in.
Mowing down the grass. There goes one, getting the confirmation. They know where he is. Vios Gaming, winner, chicken dinner with 8 eliminations going their way here, PB. That's got to feel good.
Absolutely. Incredible stuff from Bios Gaming. They were a team that took a roll of the dice by taking the compound across the river. They were the only team over there to kind of hunker down, grab a compound, and it looked like, hey, we're just going to take this spot. It's safe. Maybe we get 5th or 6th place, and then all of a sudden, zone starts shifting north. It goes over, it gets over, and they make a play for the bridge, able to secure it against a weakened Influence Rage, a weakened Alpha 7. They get that position, and like you guys, it looked like Loops was primed to win that game. They had freedom of movement. Everyone was in kind of a kill zone for Vios Gaming. Nades could have been their demise, but they were able to make the plays. They got it done. And Vios Gaming, they're starting to put together a bit of momentum. They were strong last week to close the week, 7. They were putting together those elims, and they just couldn't get the rank. They were falling off early. Now they're getting winner chicken dinners. Is this something different that we've seen from the lowest ranking Brazilian team last week? Now they're crushing it to kick off week 2.
Yeah, them being able to get that win, I mean, that's definitely the biggest difference, because we know that this team has been able to get the eliminations. I know one man that's going to be happy that's currently not here, Reflections. He was high on that Vios Gaming trend for the longest time, and he even got me hype on it too, because this team is able to be aggressive when they need to. I mean, they just showcased it perfectly too. The way that they were able to play that, even before that final circle, they ended up having Nunes ready in the bridge in case it was going to end up going the other way, which it ended up going that way. They were able to adjust quickly, take care of Alpha 7 with a little bit of help of Loops, jumping at least one player on the other side of the bridge. So if for some reason Loops still had players alive, that crosspath, that crossfire that Vios Gaming was going to have on them was going to be deadly. So overall, great plays out of Vios Gaming, Dave.
Yeah, the jumping off the bridge right there was a big brain play, to get that reposition while it looked like Loops were focused on Nunez, right, with the prone position and the grenades on the front lines. And honestly, Vios did a great job too at making sure that their backs weren't overexposed for Alpha 7 right here in the replay. So, hey, listen, I was doubting Vios last week. I didn't really see it, but now here, 7 and PB, I can kind of see what Reflections is cooking with here with this squad.
Absolutely. Incredible performance from them. We also saw really strong performance out of Loops. They were able to secure that early ground up in Hot 10, getting those pot shots out into VIP esports in the ocean, and then able to turn their attention south to secure a 2nd place in this first game of week 2. Absolutely love what I saw out of Loops. Just a little bit short of getting that chicken dinner today. But game 1 is in the books. The jungle is behind us, and now it's time to head into the forests of Erangel, but not before a quick break. Make sure you guys are back here momentarily, and we'll see you then. And welcome back. Game 1 of week 2 in the books. Jungle is completed, and it is none other than our boys from Vias Gaming taking the victory over their countrymen in Loops Esports in Game 1. It was a lot of action in that one, starting with some hot drops early on over at the mountaintops near Camp Alpha. The zone conveniently goes that way as well. 7 Worlds, we talked about some of the NA teams in the they're leading into the show today, asking about what they needed to do. We heard from Bob over at Shoot to Survive, and it looked like Shoot to Survive was off to a rip-roaring start, going up against one of the best teams in the lobby. Intense game. Fortunately for them, they just ran out of guns. They didn't have enough firepower to actually support the fight, and they fell a little bit short in that one.
That's one thing that I was hoping Shoot to Survive wouldn't be doing. It was be going for the hot drop. I mean, we saw exports trying to already adjust to that. And from the first week, they ended up backfiring. They went back to that VOD review. They ended up doing something here, and at least they didn't die and get eliminated within the first 10 minutes of the game. So that's good for exports, for Shoot to Survive. Going into tomorrow, I'm hoping you guys don't end up hot dropping. I'm hoping it doesn't end up happening, and I'm hoping they do extended VOD review as well on the placements and different playing paths, because they don't want to run into another situation like exports ended up doing, where they switch their spot and then you end up running into one of the strongest teams in the game, the strongest team in the lobby right now, which was Alpha 7.
Absolutely. I mean, at the top of that mountaintop at the start, Klaus was able to get a couple of knocks, not able to get any finishes, swept out wide to contain on that flank, and I thought it was a good play, but I don't know what happened, but he just turned around, got shot in the back, and that was it for Shoot to Survive. They get wiped early, and that one, a great job by Intense Game to rebound. And we saw also, Dave, the likes of X-Force on that island as well, making a substitution with Free Point coming into the match. Ultimately, it didn't really amount to much. I mean, they were able to survive past the opener, get into that mid game, and ultimately fell a little bit short. But I did feel that X-Force, they played well. They just got a bit unlucky with all those hard shifting zones moving away from them, and they just kind of had to chase those zones.
Yeah, by the way, it's in the name, Shoot to Survive. Casper had no gun to shoot, so he didn't survive. But yeah, X-Force, totally agree with you. You know what? It's just a Sandhawk thing. Sometimes you just got to chuck it up to that here, PB. And I'm happy that we only have it one time a day, right? It's like, get in, warm up, see what happens. Because Royals of War, I wouldn't have predicted they walk away with 8 eliminations. They had a beautiful position, you know, that we were kind of mentioning on those hilltops. So Royals of War really doing a great job. But I like that we got Erangel and then we got Miramar, you know, pretty much throughout the rest of the day. That's the map that you can kind of predict some rotations a little better on. And it's not the crazy mess that Sandhawk could force these players to compete in. But 9Z, they had a great spot. They were able to get 6 eliminations. Inko, they were cruising and bruising that whole time. But the Wolves here, PB, I think you want to touch on the Wolves. First of all, I was impressed with their just their game knowledge right there at the end, because we saw Loops. They had them pinned down in that shack, 3 Wolf members. And once when Loops kind of turned their attention for like maybe 3 seconds to focus on Alpha 7, the Wolves pushed out immediately right there to try to survive a little longer here, PB. And that was impressive.
Absolutely. There was not a lot of room to try to sneak into that circle, and the Wolves, they were able to find a crease and shoot the gap. They made it into the shack. They were able to survive quite a bit of time, and we talked about this in the run-up to today's show, which is the Wolves. This is the team that most feel is probably the most talented and experienced from the North American region, and we thought, you know, hey, they got to put something together to get things going, get that momentum building, and they finished game 1 here of week 2 with a 3rd place finish. So you gotta like the trajectory that they're on right now, 7. But at the same time, every team in the lobby today for Sandhawk had at least 1 elimination. Every team did. Yep. So all of the teams getting an option to warm up those weapons. The Wolves in 3rd place, they only had 1 elim as well, finishing that high in the standings. You know, did they get their guns warm? Are they feeling that momentum, or did they just luck out finding somewhere in the zone?
I think they might have ended up locking out in a way, being able to find something in the zone there. And they did get also unlucky, because whenever the zone did end up coming to them, whatever utility they used to get into that little shack ended up costing them big time, because as Dave was able to mention, Loops just started noticing that they were right there. Such an easy target to see them there too. They really didn't have that many smokes. They really didn't have that much utility to work with to allow them to push out. And I'm with you, Dave. I think I really enjoy them at least trying to go for the push out, not just conceding the point, not just admitting defeat in a way, which is something that sometimes the teams tend to do. Like, okay, well, we're stuck here. Guess what? We have a team still behind us. We have loops in front of us. They keep knocking us over and over again. They were like, no, we're going to wait for the right spot. We're going to try to go out. They were at least able to secure one elimination.
You know, the final team that I don't think we haven't mentioned two of the NA teams yet. One's VIP Esports. My advice to them is just stay out of the water. Do not be the fish in the barrel that the other players can shoot. We saw them getting the short end of the stick in this one as well. But the other team is Inco, right? Inco finished with 6 elims in our first game. And they had an impressive push onto 9Z coming from that high ground. It was a fight that they felt we have to take this because there's no other compounds to hide within in this circle. So if we're going to be safe, we need to play the edge, and between them and that edge was 9Z. They got off to a nice start of that fight, unable to finish it, but Inco finishing, I believe, in 6th place. Yeah, 6th place, 6 points overall as well to go for their elims. I liked what I saw from them as they started to kick off week number 2-7.
Yeah, I think for Inco, one thing that I was surprised is that push that they made. I was even saying, I was like, okay, 9C, you're going to be ready. As soon as you see them, they're going to just start ripping apart Inco. That was not the case. 9C was not ready whatsoever, Dave. The fact that 9C allow Inco Gaming to get that close, that was a bit of a head scratcher for me, Dave.
Yeah, and I did like the play, though, from Inco. They had Bruno Zinn kind of on the cliff side of the high ground, overlooking that push, right, when they made the crash with the vehicle. But I think the 3 members inside the actual compounds might have overextended just a little too much, kind of out of the sight lines of Bronison on that high ground, you know, kind of playing that guardian angel role. Not to mention, though, remix with the DBS. I mean, my dude was just popping off right there, too. So that also hurts on the push. But I really did like the Inco crash. I just feel like they kind of lost sight of their guardian up above just a little bit. And I think that's what did them in right there. But great push regardless, though. I like it.
100%. You know, and with Inco up on that hillside, they were the final boss up there, right? We saw Royals of War that they tangled with a bit earlier. Royals of War finished with quite a few elims as well. I believe they had 8. Yeah, 8 as they went out in 10th place. Man, it was sticky up there the entire time, starting with Shoot to Survive, ending up with Inco. I thought they were going to play that, you know, kind of Guardian Overwatch strategy, just kind of waiting as 9Z pushed into circle, but that was not the case. I want to get a little bit more into the head of Inco Gaming, so I'd love to hear from them directly. So let's hear a little bit more about what they had to say.
Inco Gaming, it's a big organization in Brazil. They have some achievements in the country. It's very old in the scene of PUBG Mobile Brazil. And for me, it's honor to play in Inco and to start my new journey in this team.
Feliz, né? Tá de volta na Inco, tá com os meninos, a line forte e brigar mais, ter mais chance de brigar ainda pelo título agora, que tô com a line mais forte, tô mais confortável e tô executando mais o meu jogo também. Então, tô bem feliz de estar de volta na Inco.
É muito bom estar aqui de novo. Eu acho que a Américas precisa da Inco. A gente está muito preparado para esse campeonato e, se Deus quiser, vai dar tudo certo.
Eu estou muito feliz com o meu time. Nós estamos muito entrosados, nós estamos muito querendo ganhar o campeonato. Então, nós veio muito forte. Eu estou muito confiante com o meu time. Então, essa confiança pode trazer muito o título.
The roster of Inco Gaming, it's very, very, very strong. I am the in-game leader. I do more free man in the game. I have 7, the support of the team, and Vitali and Magrelin in the front, doing fragger, both do the same position.
Cara, eu tô achando bem forte. Tipo, é um time muito forte que tem Brunozinho, tem Magrelinho também, que é o campeão da PMWC, tem o Vitali também, que tem muita bala, muito skill, o Gerx também, que tá sempre ali com a gente, e eu, né, também tenho um bote no meio. Tô bem confiante, não só pelo NA, mas também para garantir o título da Américas.
Dessa vez a gente conseguiu montar uma line muito forte, a gente conseguiu peças muito importantes, Magrelinho que vem que foi campeão mundial, o Bruno que vem de uma PMVC muito forte, que é um grande líder. o Sérgio, o Vitali, que, pô, não tem o que falar, são grandes jogadores que já vem se provando há muito tempo. E, de fato, esse é um campeonato para a gente se provar como equipe e vai dar tudo certo.
Eu vou continuar na Inco, porque eu tô fechadão com eles, já vai fazer 4 anos que eu tô com eles. E eu tô muito feliz com a nova line que a gente montou. O Seven já era daqui, mas aí voltou. E o Magrelo que veio para reforço e o Bruno, né? Tava na final da PMGC e representou muito bem o México na Vice, e é isso.
Eu tô muito confiante, igual eu falei. Claro que quer classificar para EWC, mas o foco principal é ser campeão, né? Isso não sai da minha mente. Então, é treinar, ter o foco, e esses dias de match point aí é de ir pra cima para conquistar o título.
Love the interview and hearing from the players directly. That was Inco Gaming, kind of giving you a sneak peek into the minds and the approach that they have for this PMSL Americas Spring 2025 tournament. And again, we're getting ready for Erangel. Just about to hop into kind of what's next, but I got one final thing I want to wrap about here for Sandhawk before we move on. Want to shout out a couple of players, one of which on the good side and one of which finally we see something a bit different. So on the good side, Rafinha from Brazil absolutely killed it that game. Loops had 10 elims, and Rafinha had 6 of those. So doing major work from up north for Loops. And then on the flip side, I think this might be the first time all tournament that I've been able to say this. Revo from Alpha 7 had 0 elims in that game. I don't know if we'll be able to say it again. The man's had, I feel like, so many elims, but finally they keep Alpha 7 off the board. Are you a bit surprised by that, 7?
I knew as soon as you said good things about Rafinha, as soon as you said I'm gonna flip it, we're not gonna be probably seeing this thing. I was like, it's gonna be Revo. It's gonna him get caught it off guard. And honestly, I'm not really surprised. It's bound to happen, right? I don't really. If that man for some reason puts up 60 eliminations again, and we were even talking about this yesterday with Maxman during the PMSL CSA watch party. It's just absurd. Like the performance that player is being able to put up. And in comparison is that you have somebody else that's in the same squad with the same situations in squash, and Rebel somehow is able to put up just double the points. It's currently like Red Bull. Max Verstappen is doing good. Yuki Tsunoda is absolutely sucking. Second car's just bad. But yeah, I mean, Rebel is just doing Rebel things. I don't expect that we're going to be seeing this more throughout this tournament.
I love the F1 shout out. Hopefully that lands with some of the fans out there watching PUBG Mobile. But at the same time, to put that in perspective a little bit, Revo's averaging 3.27 elims per game. I mean, the guy is out of this world crazy right now. And to be averaging 3 to 4 elims per game as a player, that's like a decent amount for a team. If you can hop into a game as a team and pick up a squad wipe each and every game, you're doing all right. So, I mean, pretty insane stuff from them. We'll keep an eye on Alpha 7 this next game to see if they can rebound. But, gentlemen, before we go into Erangel for our second map here of Week 2, gotta ask the predictions. So, Dave, gonna come to you first this time. You know, we picked some teams. I don't know that any of us were picking Vios. I was this close. You know, I love to say that after the fact, you know, when we got hindsight 2020. But I was feeling like they might be able to bring it in. But I was like, nah, they're not gonna do nothing. They haven't done nothing the whole time. Then they win. But, Dave, what do you got here?
Good for them. Good for them. Yeah, I mean, Loops, 10 elimination points, almost getting that win right there. I know game number 1, they really had the zone, though, kind of going for them. But I feel like they're itching for that win and winner chicken dinner after being so close. So I'm gonna pencil me in for Loops. Loops, game number 2. Let's go.
I like it. And 7, what about you, my friend? What are we thinking?
I'm going to be jumping on the train you've been on, PB. I'm going to be jumping on 9Z just because of what happened. Talking about momentum, NA, LATAM, all of these other teams. I think 9Z got what it takes here going into the first Erangel of Phase 2 of PMSL America's 2025 Spring Split, because they ended up last time that we got a chance to see them play, second place, 7 elims, third place, 10 elims. So I'm hoping 9Z is going to be able to pull away here with the win. How about you?
You know, in this one, I feel like Intense Game's got to be a bit upset, and things have been slipping away from them a little bit. They've got to rebound, and I feel like this is a map they can do it on, so I'm going to select Intense Game as my pick to win map 2 here today. We'll see if that's actually accurate. A lot of teams playing pretty well right now, and 9Z being one of them, so I like that pick as well, 7. But I'm going Intense Game to start this one out. So here we are flying in. Match 20 of our PMSL America's Spring 2025 season is underway. We are in our league phase. Remember, all teams competing for that rank to try to get those head start points as we head into the grand final. So, Dave, what do you notice about the playing path and where these teams are dropping?
Playing path looking pretty good. Maybe we'll see the Zarky boys go up to Zarky. We were chatting about them last week. They had some success. Looks like Team Liquid AGG gonna be dropping down here on military based island. So still got my eyes on Loops though. I mean, they're feeling good. Vios Gaming probably really confident heading into game number 2. Let's see what that confidence can do though, because Savage Esports are right here. We're just going at it. We're slashing, we're punching, and we're taking them down, baby. Oh my goodness. Vios Gaming eliminated. What in the world?
Hey, congrats on your chicken dinner, boys. We're going to stab you right back to the lobby. So with that, our most recent match winner is punched out by Savage Esports.
No.
That is not something I thought I would say, but the good news is, 7, is we have ourselves a highlight that we're going to be watching back for the rest of this tournament.
That is for a second there, I had to like pinch myself. I was saying, are we in a custom lobby? Are we in a Simon Says moment right now where, okay, everybody just start knifing each other, because that's exactly what it felt like. And for Bios, I mean, for Savage as well, you're going to end up getting caught. This is exactly what you were expecting. This is what's going to happen when you try to go for that garage. And Loops wanting to continue on some momentum. They're easy for eliminations. One team that I was hoping would actually end up doing this, it was none other than Wolves. Wolves got a chance to see him earlier here, but look at that. All of them go through the same area because they have to. Nobody wants to back off, and everybody just starts swinging.
Was there even a gun there? I just saw one smoke grenade on the floor. Okay, there was one pistol. Honestly, though, did anybody win? Did Vios or SG? Did anyone win in that?
I know who didn't.
You know.
That was Vios. They got 0 points out of the engagement. At least SVG is leaving with 4 points, and maybe quite a long time to VOD review going into the next match on Erangel. Maybe they can watch yesterday's games and learn something. Who knows? But an exciting start to this one as 8 players jump into the same small room, duke it out, and then Loops, who you called out, Dave, as the team to watch here, they are able to swoop in and take advantage of the fact that I don't know if SVG didn't loot. There wasn't much to loot, right? Maybe they forgot to pick up the brass knuckles that they dropped. I don't know, but Loops able to secure 4 points and some momentum early on in this one, and that's got to be something that Brazil's really happy about, right? Loops putting up 10 points and a second place, or 10 elims in a second place last game for 16 points total. Now they're already up to 4, so they've already put 20 points up today, 7.
Yeah, they definitely have. I mean, for them, great awareness for that team, right? And not the first time, too, as we see Valak here in Freepoint with the hovercraft trying to make their way across, being able to just get stopped there by a team that was passing by as well. But for Loops, great awareness. Not the first time we end up seeing them being proactive when it does end up coming to Erangel. Last week, we saw a team being able to just also be trying to sneak up on them in Pochinki. I think it ended up being Inco. Loops took care of them easily.
They got it from the air and the sea right now. My goodness, here, 7.
I'm getting flashbacks right now. Are we back in phase 1 when X-Force ended up getting the win? Because this is the exact same thing that this team ended up doing, and I'm hoping it ends up paying off. Fate ends up making the rotation with the glider. The rest of the squad ends up making the rotation just via whatever vehicle they were able to find to cross the ocean. And now they're just going to focus towards the south. If for some reason, which I highly doubt. Okay, yeah, it's not going to be towards the west because of the circle that we're currently working with. And if we can, let's actually take a look here at the circle that we are going to be working with within the map, because X-Force, they're going to have just free roam when it comes towards the south. You can see nobody's going to be active. If anybody does decide to challenge them, which is AGG, remember what happened last week with AGG. They couldn't make up their mind. They felt like it was me on a Friday night not being able to realize where I wanted to go eat. I couldn't make up my mind. That's exactly what AG was like last week. So X-Force, I'm hoping they're going to be able to take advantage of that.
Look at the position from Wolves there, Dave. I mean, they've got... Remember, Vios was just eliminated via punching. Yeah. So they are not the ones to camp the bridge this time around. So we might see a little bit of a mix-up, as it's not the status quo that we've seen in every other Erangel so far. Now Wolves owns the northern part of the circle. They're at the bridge. All those teams are going to be crashing on them shortly, so I definitely want to keep an eye on that, Dave.
Yeah, for sure. Now they're going to be in the proactive position to, you know, gatekeep these squads, looking to use that east bridge to maybe rotate down there. It's still a 50-50 gamble where these next circles will take us if we are going to go down there to Military Base Island. But there's already a couple teams kind of hedging their bets. You know, 9Z going to be sending it across the bridge. Royals of War also hovering in the area on that west side bridge. So looking at the Wolves, they got the hovercraft. They got a nice position right now to get a nice little crossfire on any teams that might be looking to send it across that bridge here.
7, all of these guys have level 1 vests that I've seen so far on the Wolves. So they're still out in loot mode trying to get themselves equipped to take on another squad. And it looks like Juancho has spotted one, so they're going to retreat, maybe group up and get ready for the push. And it is going to potentially happen. United for Gaming rolls up just in time to see Wolves retreat. And not quite enough time to get some shots off, but they're definitely aware of each other as Hate Gorilla peeks the corner and almost pays for it.
Good heads-up play there from Juancho, a player that I went in earlier into the day. I want to see more out of him just overall today and the whole week. Realizing that he was just way too overextended, decides to back up, and United for Gaming trying to see if they can maybe end up picking up something here with Coops. This is going to be an important fight too, and I'm wondering if they're going to decide to just make a pace treaty here at some point. And if for Wolves, where do you end up going? Do you definitely don't want to maybe end up staying in these buildings? Do you want to maybe end up doing a 2-2 split? But then it becomes dangerous if they do end up making a 2-2 split, day, because there's just going to be so many teams that might try to get a little bit closer, go towards Milta, and if they see an opening, they're going to go for it. And one team that I can see that is going to be rotating, that more than likely is going to be rotating through Milta, is going to be Alpha 7, and that's a team that you don't want to be 2v2ing against.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting their vehicles ready. The circle's about to close in, and then the Wolves will make up their mind then. I love the player cams, by the way. We saw Hate right there kind of leaning out the window in game, but also leading with the gyro in real life, you know, with the player cam, just being one, you know, being one with the 8x scope right there. I think the player cams, they're amazing. I mean, they add so much more context. I mean, we see Juancho snaking it out. Like, you can see he's down there, like, really trying to be, you know, beneath the barriers right there, hiding. So, I mean, PB, we need some caster cams out here too, man.
100%, man. I'm looking at Carrillo. I want to take a peek at him when we get a chance, because you can see him sneaking ahead for Alpha 7, starting to scout that bridge. And the Wolves, they know that United 4 Gaming is there, as we watch S2S get into it once again with Intense Game, going for that revenge. And this time, it's Bob that gets the upper hand here, but they've got 2 players down as the rest of Intense Game arrives on scene. Adrian trying to revenge his homie that has gone down. And this is going to be a fight for the ages here at this compound. It's in the blue zone, so things are looking a bit dicey for whoever survives this fight.
Intense Games looking for some revenge here. Again, Shoot to Survive. Knocks have been going their way. Adrian is going to end up getting knocked. Great confirmed there by Darklight. And Darklight just barely surviving. As you mentioned, this fight is going to end up happening out in the blue zone. And not only that, the amount of noise that these teams are going to be making is going to be attracting Royals of War. And for Royals of War, do you want to take the chance? Do you want to take the opportunity here? We've seen how aggressive you can be, especially in Sandhog. Do you want to maybe try to go for that fight? I think they're going to just prioritize this zone. Prioritize what's going to be happening later on. As Wolves ends up making the rotation here, Dave, with nothing other than a hovercraft, and I'm actually all for it.
Hovercrafts all day. So we know X-Force have a hovercraft. The Wolves have a hovercraft. Possibly 9Z. Remember, we saw Kogo making the boat tate early on, was passing a hovercraft. So we'll see if these vehicles show up in the late game. But looks like the Wolves are going to be nice and close to at least squash from Alpha 7 and a few other members from Alpha 7 who had to take the rotation across the channel right here in Nova right now, PB.
And they had vehicles as well to get across. The only one that's swimming is Carrillo. He's behind the squad right now, still out in the water trying to make his way across. So it's a 3v4 at the moment for A7. And Coops is got Overwatch right now, looking down into the city right now. You can see you've got Doran, Coops, and Baton looking all down into Novo right now. Revo and Squash trying to buy some time. Carrillo still out in the water, though, trying to make his way across the bay. So that's going to be a tough one for them. Mafioso getting some loot. I want to see these two squads go head-to-head because we've seen it so many times this tournament so far. And, you know, it's something that, well, hopefully we'll see again because it's always a fun fight.
Yeah, these two teams have been catching each other on rotation, especially when it came down to Erangels as well. Miramar, I think Carrillo now trying to make their way in. And earlier, PB, I don't know if we're going to get a chance to see this, but if we can, let's get a chance to look at what VIP Freddy's currently doing, because you gave him a fair warning. You gave him a heads up. They're like, VIP, I want to make sure I don't see you in the water. I don't think they listen to you.
The Zarky
VIP.
boys.
If you're going to swim, you got to swim first. You can't be going after the likes of A7 coming up behind them. You know what I'm saying? This is a tough one for them. They're about to find out, but look at this zone.
Wow.
Dave, we got a doozy ahead of us. I think VIP goes north and just takes the northern part of this bridge.
Look at Freddy's like, I'm going. No, I'm coming back, boys. I'm coming back. So VIP dropping Zarky. They're going to be up there in the north, right there on the smidge of the new play zone. So we'll have to keep tabs on them. Looks like the Wolves looking to group up here a little bit. Alpha 7, they're going to be grouped up as well. Looks like Carrillo was able to swim across the channel. Is going to be safe and sound. They got some vehicles to work with here too. So Alpha 7, they're looking at the Wolves still here, fellas. Guess what? Behind them, remember, X-Force, they're in the area as well. So we might see Alpha 7 get sandwiched here shortly.
Glad you called that out. I was just about to ask 7. X-Force is coming up from the south. We saw Alpha 7 on that ridge side controlling so much real estate, just really kind of chilling. And then they realized, you know, maybe we need to keep moving instead of just bird dogging on Wolves this whole time. We're going to see X-Force come up on the left over that ridge here shortly. 24K leading that charge. They have stopped for the moment, but just over that ridge, X-Force lies in wait. So we'll see if they end up rolling up on Alpha 7. But for now, Loops continues its momentum, putting a 5th elim of the game into their column. And momentum's looking pretty strong right now from Loops out of Brazil, Dave.
Yeah, Loops, they're going to have to really, though, be on their P's and Q's. Yeah, they're looking to get these stragglers out here, but we got the heads up. We got Inco and INF also on the rotate, looking to utilize the West Bridge. So hopefully, Loops, they're in a prepared situation. Here we go. Beautiful, beautiful right there. To take these shots, because Loops are trying to take out Casper and Padrino, but they also got 2 other teams on the rotate. And talking about the rotate, Casper, Casper had a gun this game, but just you know, couldn't handle the Loops heat.
6 elims. I don't think right now anybody can handle the Loops heat. The only team that can the only thing that can actually handle the heat is gonna be that blue zone, which is gonna be forcing them to start pushing towards the circle. And I don't know how Loops is gonna manage to do that. I don't know which way they're gonna be going, because from everything that we're looking at right now, it's looking like it's going to be tough. And going back to X-Force, I'm actually enjoying that they're just playing a little bit patient here. They're not pushing anything. They're not forcing anything. And they were making sure that nobody was going to be doing a wide rotation towards the south. One team that I thought maybe might end up surprising X-Force was going to be Row 19, because they were looking to do the same path as X-Force was able to do. They decided to just go into the circle a little bit sooner. Intense game. The last player here just waiting it out, trying to make sure he gets anything here from Influence Rage. It's going to be tough, as Law is going to be coming in with a buggy. Can he actually get the knock? Oh, there you go. None other than Padrino being able to just confirm that elimination and securing some more points for his squad. And Influence Rage is going to be like, you can have that. We're just going to try to make our way into the circle because we're so far out.
Best case scenario.
Did he not get the heal off?
Did he not? He got the elim though. That's a small little baby dub.
He got the heal.
He got the heal.
For sure. Man, tough breaks there. Pedrino's not a guy you want to fight in the open. That dude's got a nice aim on him for sure. Circle starting to close. Now we're going to see some fights. 9Z waiting on loops right now, and it looks like their run might come to an end. Gusta and Vatine and Rafina all knocked out, and it comes down to Nilzada to try to keep this team alive. Loops going from super strong to super weak in a blink of an eye. That's what happens, though, when you spend so much time in the blue zone, especially when there's a southern circle. It pays for the teams that get across early. And we're seeing that kind of materialize right now. Influence Rage also down a couple of members as we speak. And here we go. Lil Boy taken down by Milos as well. Milos there taking down Lil Boy.
Park it. Where are you going? Park it. I don't know where we're going, man. We just park it somewhere and just survive. We're testing our luck. We are really testing our luck out here right now. It's going to be in a pretty centralized position. Okay, we got the smokes out. We're safe. We're good to go. Pedrino, by the way, still alive, was able to steal that vehicle, but we'll get back to that because the Wolves right now on the shorelines, I think they're going up against the Zarky bros, but they're also trying to avoid the sightlines from Alpha 7 right now, PB.
Alpha 7 has just been staring at them the entire game. Wolves got across, Alpha 7 got across, and they've just been stalking them like prey. So I'm just waiting for that fight to happen. Alpha 7 locked on to Wolves, but now VIP has inserted themselves into the mix. They did not stay north on that bridge. They all decided to swim across, come up in Novo, and here we are with the push on to A7. This should be an interesting one. Frady trying to get to the flank, and we'll see if he's able to do so. Revo, down to just a couple of HP. And VIP taking it to A7, but look at the third party coming in as well. Wolves taking down the back player of VIP, and Carrillo goes down. Alpha 7 eliminated. VIP gives an assist to Wolves. They'll take it.
Let's
VIP with the numbers advantage there, just taking full credit of that fight, making sure they secure at least 3 eliminations. By the way, I do want to give some credit there to Wolves as well. They did end up eliminating Mafioso earlier on, hindering any potential that Alpha 7 was maybe going to end up crashing on them. And for VIP, you guys were able to get out of the water. Now, what are you going to be able to do here with this zone? Because it's going to be a tough one. You have none other than Wolves currently just controlling everything that has to do with the east, especially the northern eastern part of this circle. A lot of room to work with for Wolves, and I'm hoping they take full advantage of it. Depending on where the next circle is going to be closing in, they do have an airdrop as well, so they're going to be able to reset that level 3 to their advantage and just continuing on. They have the hovercraft as well if for some reason it ends up being out in the open. And right now, this is looking good for Wolves. A lot of the teams on the south are going to be forced to fight. If anything for the Wolves, they need to make sure they are careful at any team trying to maybe rotate on them, and it could end up being X-Force.
X-Force about to get into it right now with All Glory Gaming as well as VIP. Things starting to come together right now. Here's the shots raining in from the top of the mountain. Fate getting them down. VIP, though, struggling with the play zone, but VIP Poppy Sour pops out and takes down 24K. That alerts Fate to the presence of VIP behind them. Takes away a bit of their momentum, Dave, and VIP trying to play the role of spoiler.
He's scared. Listen, I'm starting to realize VIP strat, and it is just go for the rotates that nobody would even think about going for and surprise them from behind. That's what we saw from them pushing up from the swim strat with Alpha 7, and then right there with X-Force. I mean, little tiny plays like that. However it takes you to get these points on the board, I'm all for it. Remember, this team, they dropped Zarky, and they made it all the way down here in the south, and they're walking away with some elimination points to boot. So VIP Esports, take those 4 points and hold your head up high, because that's a GG. Inco Gaming, though, over here, they got 3 elims. They got the whole team alive. Looks like they're trying to use their utility to, I believe, flush out the solo right above them, but they're going to be using this little ridge to move a little closer into the play zone, but Tonka won't let them. Tonka's like, nah, come back here, fight me. Got the grenade in hand, 3 grenades to be exact. Going to be tossing it, and Inco, they're just all over the place right now up against the solo from Royals of War.
Yeah, Tonka definitely doesn't want to let go of this fight. He keeps throwing nades. He keeps throwing that utility. He's able to connect there, but not able to knock anybody. And Inko now returning the nades, returning whatever Tonka was able to do for them. Tonka maintaining himself alive, the last player alive for Ro as well. Not one of the best games for Ro, as they currently only have one elimination. If they were to get eliminated here, it's going to be 0 placement points as well. Can you get the... Oh, no, he didn't get the heal off in time. But for Inko, now you have terrain to work with. Now you have some room to work with here. You're going to be able to at least move up to the zone. You're going to end up scouting on AGG. You're going to end up scouting on TL and just wait for the right moment. And I'm not sure if they're going to be able to just go and loot up Tonka quickly, see if he had any extra utility that might end up helping them out. Because a lot of these teams are going to be keeping an eye on Inko towards the back, PB.
Absolutely. One of the things I'm noticing as well is a lot of these teams on the outskirts that don't have a fortified position, they all have no meds. I mean, we're bandaging up right now. Very difficult on the first aid situation for many of these guys. And on the interior, teams like Team Liquid, they've got all the supplies in the world, plus a defensive position to fight from. They've been chilling there the whole map, so they don't have a lot of elims at the moment. Only one for Team Liquid, but they are in a good spot to potentially take this one. We've got 4 teams right now that have great positions, and the zone is about to tell us which ones of those continue to. Ooh. And since it's central, you've got United Gaming up in the top left. You've got the Wolves in the top right. You've got All Glory Gaming in the bottom right, and you've got Team Liquid in the bottom left. All 4 of those teams are looking pretty good. Everyone else trying to just fight their way in and earn something here. But this is an interesting circle to say the least, and we're going to see some good PUBG Mobile here, Dave.
Yeah, the team with the hovercraft, though, wins this one easy. So we'll see what the Wolves can do up there. We're going to see them making some moves, but it's going to be a fight happening right now. Team Liquid, I believe 2 of their members are in the play zone, but they got Inko right behind them, just itching to take this fight. Starting to see those smokes come out, create that little smoke tunnel to be able to kind of close this gap. Inko, they're locking in, they're loading in their vehicles, and now they're making the push here in the front lines. Mythic with the DBS in hand. Ayala trying to lay down the suppression with the grenades, but Mythic on fire, forced to push out of their cover, and third party because 9Z here, 7, right behind them, overlooking this engagement.
Such a beautiful play there by Inko as well, using those smokes, using the grenades, using all of that utility that I was hoping that we're going to end up using. And as well, as you mentioned, Dave, getting blessed with 9C being close by. You got to be careful, though. I did end up seeing 1 player from Influence Rage left. It's going to be none other than Diego. That's a player that you don't want to get spotted out. He will end up seeing an opportunity, and he will try to confirm you into an elimination. Coops and the squad continue to do things, though. 7, though, from Inko Gaming, taking on the action, trying to get this even closer. And as I mentioned that, Diego did end up getting one of those confirmed eliminations. Now it's going to be getting a push here from Inko Gaming. Looking to blast the last player, their Chief from Team Liquid. Can he actually hold off Inko Gaming, or is it going to be too much? Cardozen more than likely is going to end up going down. This could be a perfect grenade. Time well. 7's going to go down. Chief now making it a little bit easier for him in a way that the odds might be a little bit on his favor. 9C, what are you going to be doing? Are you want to be getting involved with this fight, or is it just going to be Team Liquid? Is it just going to be Chief? The grenade's going to be coming in from McGrillen. McGrillen's not going to be able to finesse that nade into the circle. Now Inko slowing it down a bit. The grenade comes in, bounces off the wall. Chief forcing Inko Gaming to rethink their strategies here. This is a great Molotov. It should make sure that Chiefs get stuck in this positioning. And right now, there you go. Easy peasy. Inko is able to just get rid of Team Liquid and still has 3 players to work with.
Wolves taking on 2 different teams right now. They've got United 4 Gaming that they're taking on, as well as 9Z. Doing good work here as they've got 9Z down to just 1 player left, and United 4 Gaming down to 1 player as well. Wolves on the offensive and taking it to the lobby right now as they secure even more real estate. They now own the entire upper half of the circle. Wolves able to hang in, and they've got all 4 players alive. Not only that, but all of them near full health as well. It's come down to 2 dominant teams in the lobby, Wolves and All Glory Gaming as far as position goes, but man, Inko is riding a bit of a heater right now. They pushed in and they knocked out a Team Liquid squad that had that compound fortified, defended, and supplies to boot. Inko said, we don't care. We're coming to take it. It's ours. And I got to say, impressed with the placement of the Molotovs, impressed with the grenades, and they really gave Chief and the rest of Team Liquid no chance to defend it simply because they were cornered into rooms and Inko knew exactly where they were, Dave.
Yeah, Inko, unfortunate for them, though, they're not going to be getting the circle luck here. And also, to kind of make matters worse, Wolves, they doubled their hovercraft inventory. So now they got two, not one, but two hovercrafts here to hopefully secure the winner chicken dinner out here, as they're going to have so much real estate up there in the north. But talking about hovercrafts, Valak still rocking his, getting those sight lines, really trying to pinpoint where AGG might be. AGG going to be pretty centralized in their hard cover. AGG have been here for a hot minute. Only one elimination point right now for this squad in particular. And they also have Nelzada from Loop still. Remember, homie's been just like hoping nobody finds his location behind that broken wall. But I think the next big engagement here has to be Inko and the Wolves.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed
100%.
here looking at AGG. They've been sitting in this spot for the longest time, and the fact that they only have one elimination to put up, yeah, I know the terrain might not be on their favor, but I was expecting a little bit more as Inko and Wolves are looking to engage. Inko, we've seen them, what they've been able to do, especially with the utility use, the Molotovs, the grenades, the smokes as well. Coops looking to get a knock right there, and he almost ends up getting knocked, forcing McGrillen to go back. There you go. Dornay is going to be able to connect with that grenade. Vitaly's now going to be pushing in. Bruno's is going to be pushing in as well. Wolves needs to be careful here. Don't overexpose yourself. Don't overextend if you don't need to, as Inko does have a ledge to work with. There you go. Great spot by Tone. Wolves is looking to get a win this week in day one of phase 2 in PMSL Americas, and they're doing it perfectly. It's not just Coops. It's everybody now starting to show up for the squad as they have 10 eliminations to their name.
They are crushing it right now. Beautiful plays from Wolves. You saw how close they were riding to the edge. Every player pushing that front line and proning right at the last available second in order to avoid enemy fire. Unfortunately for Inko, one of their players jumped, and that was his demise, and they go down. Wolves putting 10 elims up, and now X-Force doing a favor for their countrymen in Wolves as they start assaulting All Glory Gaming's position. AGG, the only other squad here that can really challenge Wolves right now, was they had a full squad. They no longer do, down to 3 members, and angles are being played right now by X-Force that might give them a bit of a run for their money, but free point gunned down in the street right now. It looks like AGG's going to pick that one up. I thought Wolves might be able to steal it, but this is going to be an interesting final circle. AGG has the zone. Wolves are hanging around on the outskirts right now, but they're about to put the pinch onto X-Force, Dave.
Oh, look at this. Valak going to be pretty much prioritizing the Wolves push, helping AGG in a sense, but the Wolves will be spotting him out. Wolves getting battered right there. Coops is able to find the hard cover, but AGG, they got all the utility they've been sitting on for the entirety of this match, and they're starting to let it rain down hell right now with their grenades here, 7.
Yeah, right now, 11 elims. They do end up getting one of their players eliminated, but I mean, AGG hasn't really been doing much this whole match. They've just been sitting pretty and waiting for the circle to keep coming their way. Luckily for AGG, they were able to clutch up at least 2 more eliminations. But for a team that just gave me a lot of doubt in phase 1, I'm going to be critiquing them a little bit harder, as Wolves are doing things correctly. Baton did end up getting eliminated for elims. For him, he's not going to be mad. The team's not going to be mad at what happened here. I am wondering, though, what ended up happening to those hovercrafts that Wolves had?
Look at the zone right now. Okay, so we're stage 9. This is the final circle. I'm looking at Nilzada in the distance. Yep. Dave picked Loops to win this. We haven't said a word about Nilzada. He's been chilling there this entire time. Everyone else duking it out. It's starting to get down to the point to where he can legitimately win this on a third party. He's got loot. He's full health. He's just big chilling. It looks like All Glory knows that there's somebody potentially behind, and he's starting to sneak up. Look at that. 4 heals, 5 grenades. If Wolves and All Glory Gaming clash here, Loops has a shot to sneak this one away from them. But Wolves, man, their guns are blazing right now. Almost 2,300 damage so far. And here comes the smoke wall from Neil Zada. Maybe went a little bit too soon there. Wancho picks him up for the elims. It's now a 3v3, Dave, for the winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, definitely could have waited for this fight to kind of erupt and come from behind, but hey, it is what it is. Third place, that's solid. So looking over here though, Doran's got the sticky bombs, got the MG3, the squad wiper, lock and loaded, got a couple grenades, and looks like Coops and the fella is trying to use the utility here to really bring a lot of damage to the board of AGG right now. So 3v3 here, fellas. The final zone, game number 2.
It's going to be a toss-up. I mean, it is 3v3 right now with the circle that we're currently working with. AGG, I'm enjoying that they're now starting to get different angles on the situation between themselves and Wolves. Wolves now finding themselves a little bit more compact. And how much utilities do you currently have if you are Wolves? Everybody typing in the chat, who is going to end up winning? Dorian connecting there with the first grenade. That's going to be the opening that Wolves needs to find. I enjoy that Dorian was trying to get the high ground, but he ended up being forced. Wancho trying to find a position. He's going to be able to connect it. Wancho finally showing up for his squad here, as Coops is going to be going against the 1v1 on the last player, and that should be easy pickings. That is the reason why that man has been MVP, not just in Americas, but in many other regions throughout the world. Wolves showing up for North America and showing why they are one of the favorite teams.
New week, new Wolves. Wolves take the game 2 of our second week on a 15 elimination wire-to-wire performance. Impressive stuff from them. They owned each and every one of these circles. They rotated at the perfect times. They held off Alpha 7, got some great pot shots in, and they pushed and took advantage of that northern zone at precisely the right moment. We'll come back to the Wolves here in just a moment, but man, gotta shout out Loops as well as an impressive solo, makes it all the way to the final circle, secures 3rd place for the squad as well. And I really liked All Glory Gaming finally getting into the mix in one of these final zones. You know they had to like that position with the cover and the compound. They weren't able to put it together to get that chicken dinner, Dave.
It was risky, though. It was risky for AGG. I saw M2M toss out like a little smoke barricade right there to get the off angle. But the AUG, we only had 17 bullets. So you got to hit all those shots right there on that off angle. So super risky, but it is late game. So everything, they're just drained, like you guys said right there. But what a crazy game. The winners from game number 1 immediately taken out within 10 seconds here of game number 2. And of course, we heard the interview. Big Bob, Shoot to Survive out here making some plays happen here, 7 with the DBS.
Yeah, they said that, what was it that said? They're going to be making sure that they play a little bit more compact, that they play a little bit more together, more aggression too. I mean, it has definitely worked out in regards to they're now starting to collect those elimination points. But for this team, though, I mean, I gotta go back to Wolves. I'm alongside what PB was saying. I'm so happy that they were able to take the 5 to Alpha 7 earlier on, to being able to get Mafioso on the off angle, and then on top of that, being aggressive here, making sure that they control the area, not really overextending. If there was a moment where I kind of questioned it a little bit, was whenever X-Force and AGG was fighting and it looked like Wolves took a little bit long to make that push. That's when one of the players ended up getting eliminated. But overall, they were able to recover for that. Wancho, I got to give him a big shout out. I was questioning him. I was wondering where he has been. This is the performances that this team needs to have out of him for everybody else to be able to perform as well. Him being able to get more elims with less damage than Coops. On top of that, everybody else, 3 or 4 or more T's. Wolves,
right?
Keep this going, please.
How does it feel to be Coops with 3 elims in the game and to be the lowest fragger on the team, right? 3 elims, every other teammate has 4. I think Coops will take that every day of the week for sure. He puts up almost 1,000 damage, though, as Wolves has a dominant Game 2 performance. I got to shout out Wancho as well. You called him out in the pregame, wanted to see more from him. That was a critical off-angle position that he had to lock down, and he did the job taking on that fight with All Glory Gaming. He got the job done, and that's massive for the Wolves and their initial placement as we kick off week 2, because they secure 25 points from this match alone. which is a massive head start over every other one of these teams. I mean, even in second place, All Glory only picked up 9 points, so 14 points, or 16 points rather, separates them and Wolves just in this game. So Wolves gotta be happy with this one. Really, really nicely played. And one of the things, too, that I wanted to point out, after they took down X-Force in the street and made the push to the compound, I thought for sure that the nades were going to come in, flying from All Glory Gaming, and you saw Coops hop into the window and realize, oh crap, they have sight lines. He hopped into that little shack where he could actually safely heal up, and I felt like that was the momentum builder that they needed to get back in, build another offensive, and take the fight to the enemies. We take a peek at the second page here. Dave, what stands out to you?
What stands out to me has to be BIOS Gaming, you know, coming off their winner.
Not Alpha 7 was 0?
Well, hey, Power Bang. I'm getting there. All right. I'm starting at the bottom. But yeah, Alpha 7, though, this is great news, honestly, for everybody else in the lobby, right? Alpha 7 absolutely dominating in round number 1. Yes, we're only 2 games in, so, you know, I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself, but they've only got 1 point here out of 2 games. So for all these other squads looking to capitalize on week 2 for the advancement points, like this is the best case scenario what's happening right now.
Remember what I mentioned in regards to Alpha 7 at the beginning of the day? If teams wanted to get a chance against Alpha 7, they had to make sure that they eliminated some players early on. Don't allow Alpha 7 to end up with all those 4 players alive in a top 5, in a top 3 situation, because they would just end up overpowering everybody. So far, the last 2 matches that we have seen, Alpha 7 ends up losing players earlier on, and they're not able to confirm with any points.
That's right. You walk into the prison, you got to pinch the biggest bully right in the mouth right off the bat. And that's what the Wolves did against Alpha 7. They've got loads of points so far. We'll see if it can continue and if Alpha 7 can get back on their week 1 pace. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Erangel match 3 coming up in just a moment.
All right, guys, see where our first match is done with the first victory. Every Brazilian team, you expect them to be at least in the top 5, top 6. You guys didn't have a good start, but now on the first stage, but now you get the first victory, so it's very important for you guys. How are you guys feeling from here on out? É muito importante para vocês essa primeira vitória aqui nessa primeira dessa segunda etapa. Na primeira etapa não foi bom e todo mundo espera muito de vocês. Então, como vocês estão sentindo aqui daqui para frente?
A gente usou também essas 2 fases, né? A gente está usando como preparação para a final, então a gente está testando muita coisa diferente, jogando uns estilos diferentes também, para ver se algum encaixa melhor, sabe? Mas é isso, de pouco a pouco a gente está melhorando.
Yeah, we're using these first 2 stages as a test. We're seeing what works, what doesn't work. We're testing different things, but in general, we feel that we are improving. E esse estilo que vai jogar agora foi que vai ficar ou vai continuar testando? Are you going to continue testing or are you going to stay playing like this?
Continuando testando, sempre testando coisa diferente para a gente ter o máximo de repertório na final.
Yeah, we're going to try and keep testing. We want to have as much options as we can for the finals. Sir, thank you very much. Congratulations on the victory.
Thanks.
Let's go.
welcome back to PUBG Mobile's PMSL America Spring 2025 League Play, and we are in the thick of it. Week 2 action has kicked off. We've got 2 games in the books, and right now it's looking like the Wolves from North America have come roaring back with something to prove as they take Game 2 of our Week 2 action. My name's Powerbang, and I'll host this event as hard as I can all day long, and I want to tell you about the EWC. That's the Esports World Cup. It's coming up at the end of July. That's where 3 teams from this tournament will progress to play the finest teams in all the land. That's right, the Global Championships will happen over in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia towards the end of July. So bookmark that and make sure you set your calendars because it's sure to be some amazing action. So with that, we'll bring back in our casters, the 7WG and Mustache Dave. We'll chat about Erangel and what went down last map and what we can expect next. So we saw some intense action starting out with a fatal stabbing of Vios Gaming. Do you think they're going to be able to rebound first and foremost, Seven? Because very, very strong game 1. Very, what do we call it? Suboptimal game number 2.
From the interview, they ended up saying we're just testing out different stuff. So I'm gonna give them the mulligan. All right, they're testing out different stuff. If I see them land again there, though. Then I'll
put that strategy back in the bag.
Yeah, I'll start questioning things if that happens again.
For sure. And Dave, we turn our attention now to Game 3 as once again we have Erangel coming up, and we've seen some really extreme circles, right? Where plane path is all the way on one side of the map, circle pops up on the other, leaving it basically wide open for teams. Do you expect to see more early rotations from some of these teams, or kind of how it has been where everybody just kind of gradually works their way over and maybe one team kind of rotates hard early?
Yeah, I mean, it's the luck of the draw, right? And I think one team really feeling it is Alpha 7. We saw game number 1, Sandhawk. They were down there in the southwest, and the circles went up north, and they were forced to rotate in the blue all the way to the top through multiple teams. And they lost 2 of their squad mates in that rotate. And then come this game, we saw them swimming early on. They had Novo, but they were locked down from the Wolves, right? So they really couldn't move all that much. Then you also had X-Force on the high ground. So honestly, these zones have been really giving it to Alpha 7 here. So if there was a team that deserves, I guess you could say, the zone punishment, Alpha 7 can handle it with their overall points in general. But they're a team that, without a doubt, they're looking to kind of get back and build that momentum here in round number 2 after only getting 1 point in 2 games here, fellas. So Alpha 7, they're hoping the zones could kind of be a little nicer to them. But games 1 and games 2, these zones are nah, Alpha 7, we got your number. All right.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked a little bit about Alpha 7 only securing 1 elimination point. I believe they had 4 rank points as well so far today, but not quite the performance that we saw in week 1, where they were miles and miles and kilometers ahead of the competition. Absolutely crazy performance from them in week 1. But I talked a little bit about it before the break. I was kind of joking, but kind of not, where the teams that, are kind of coming into week 2, they got to find the biggest, baddest team in this lobby and punch them early on, kick them while they're down. And that is what the Wolves have done so far. But Alpha 7 has left the door open a crack, right? Let's take a peek at the overall standings to see exactly where they sit right now, because the maps or the points have reset this week. We have zeros to start the day, and after 2 games, the Wolves are in a commanding lead right now, with Loops shortly behind. You can see Alpha 7 on second page there. And remember, 7, they scored 15 head start points in week 1. That 15 is up for grabs for another squad. Maybe it's Loops, maybe it's Wolves that can secure that 15 points after this week's done.
I mean, I'm looking at Wolves. If you're taking advantage of Alpha 7 currently not being able to perform like the way we saw them perform in phase 1, it's going to start happening at some point. That team's going to start popping off. And I mean, after 2 matches, they still ended up putting up good points in regards to placement points when we went to Sandhawk. So Wolves, keep on doing what you're doing. Hopefully we end up getting more chicken dinners. And what I'm looking at, Dave, right now so far, that mustache is safe. There is an NA team at the top.
Yeah, I got Mustache Coops out here representing the Mustache Gang. All right, so we're good to go. The Wolves, yeah, like you guys said, that winner chicken dinner, definitely feeling good here, PB.
Well, Dave, I got bad news for you, my friend. If the Wolves don't hold that position, right? If they fall a bit short, you're going to be looking a little different next week. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to have just Dave that we're going to have to call you. No mustache Dave.
Man.
What a different look, my friend. What a different look.
That's
no
a scary-looking
Dave.
guy, man. I would not want to, like, run into that guy outside. Man, the mustache really does add to my overall aesthetics. I don't know, man. No mustache Dave. That's scary here, guys. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. Come on, mustache Coops. Don't let it happen, man. Don't let it happen.
Oh, man. A lot of weight riding on the Wolves' shoulders right now. They've got first place for the moment, but it's a long week 7, Worlds. I don't know if they can hold on to it. Again, it's only been 2 games. We've got 16 more to go this week for our second week of the league phase of play. Again, the top teams will receive head start points as we move into the finals play. Everyone competing for those today and all week long. So excited to see who actually ends up with them. Any other teams standing out to you, 7, is ones to watch? Obviously, Wolves and Loops so far, but any of the middling teams so far, have they caught your eye?
I'm actually going to be looking at the teams towards the bottom. I'm going to be looking at Team Liquid. That's a team that, once again, phase 1, day 1, they were absolutely non-existent. It appeared like a completely different team. They've been trying for Team Liquid, even looking back at the map feed, they've been trying to position themselves a little bit closer towards that center circle. They've been trying to get lucky with the circle. And I think it's just a matter of time when they're able to just get that down right. I want to see what this team can actually do in regards to the fragging power that they're going to be showcasing. If they do end up being put towards the middle of the circle, especially later into the game, 4 players alive, I want to see if they can frag out, because they have gotten a win already last week, but it was only with 2 eliminations. It's just not the Team Liquid that I expect to see.
It's a great call out. Team Liquid, this was one of the teams I thought for sure was going to be top 3, at this point in this tournament, and it hasn't been the case so far. They have the experience and the players to be able to secure that. They just got to start putting some things together. I think they can do it, but another team that I thought also was going to be a bit stronger today so far, and we haven't seen them build that momentum, is Intense Game. I called them out to win last game, and once again, they go up to shoot to survive for a second game in a row, lose some players, and ultimately lose the fight. And that's something that I did not think was going to happen. So, Dave, gonna come to you for predictions for our third game of the day. We got Aaron Gell. Who do you think is going to take the cake?
I'm sticking with Loops, man. Loops, they are hungry. We saw them trying to get that bridge camp going on that west side. It didn't go their way, but somehow walked away with a couple more elimination points. And then, of course, their insurance policy to secure that 3rd place. So I think Loops are prime for a winner chicken dinner here today.
Solid pick, my friend. 7 Worlds, coming to you for your pick for Game 3.
Yeah, I ended up changing my mind. I was going to go with Alpha 7, but I want to see something that I haven't seen quite in a long time, and that is going to be, I want Wolves. I want NA to be able to get that back-to-back chicken dinner. I want to make sure that it wasn't just a one-off thing. I want to see everybody currently popping off, which they were in that game. Everybody was playing together. Everybody was making sure that they didn't end up overextending like we saw Juancho early into the match. So I'm hoping Wolves ends up surprising us and getting that back-to-back win.
Another Amazon gift card on the screen right now. Make sure you get your screenshot, fingers ready, write that sucker down, go redeem for a nice little Amazon bounty there. Enjoy that if you're watching the PMSL America Spring Season 2025. And my pick for this particular match, 7, you and me sound like we were on the same page. I was thinking, Wolves, but I actually was like, you know what? I don't think Alpha 7 is going to let things slip much longer as we see a central plane path on this one. I'm going to go with Alpha 7 for this one. It's the first time I picked them all tournament long, and I feel like picking them when they're at their lowest is the least fanboy way to go about it. So that's what I'm going to do, 7.
Yeah, I mean, I could end up picking them every single match just because I'm such a big fan of that team and I'm such a big fan of what they were able to do in phase 1. But I do want to start seeing NA stepping it up and just being consistent, right? You don't want to see just a one-off. I felt like we got that last week whenever X-Force was able to get a win. It seemed a bit more like a one-off thing. For Wolves, now they have been improving. They have been tweaking certain things here and there. They just have to make sure they maintain their main player alive, which was Coops. But I mean, the main surprise out of that win, for Wolves Esports, was that it wasn't just the Coops win. It wasn't just Coops top frag heavy. Everybody getting the, obviously he got the most damage, but he didn't end up getting the most kills. It was just a whole collective teamwork between everybody at Wolves.
Yes, sir. Team game without a doubt. And Vios Gaming going to be going up there to Severny, avoiding the early skirmish here. You love to see it. Wolves going farm. One team that I'm really liking, VIP Esports. I mean, we were talking about North America representing Puerto Rico. I love their Zarky pick, you know, that's why I call them the Zarky boys. But I do like their rotation style. I know it hasn't really been working out, but I think they're finding their groove. But one thing that really stands out to me when it comes to just looking at VIP as a whole and their rotations is they're so unorthodox that they're a team that it's a wild card, you know, that all these other squads need to kind of take into consideration, because you might be on the edge, you might be feeling like you're safe, you're good to go. And Alpha 7, they kind of found out last game, we got a squad, you know, late rotating from the blue, popping up from behind, surprising you, you know. And then not only that, you would think after that engagement with Alpha 7, the Wolves, that they would just take the easiest path forward, but they stayed in the blue and they tried to wrap around X-Force, and X-Force lost one of their squad mates because of that. So VIP, their unorthodox rotations, I'm slowly becoming a fan here, fellas.
You know, I will say, Dave, if PUBG Mobile puts flippers into the game, then I think VIP Esports, I would be a fan of those rotations. That's what I'm going to say. So if PUBG, if you're listening, put flippers into the game, and you're going to see some really fast zone rotations in the water. I think that would actually be kind of funny if they did that. But swimming this game, we've got X-Force and Freepoint. Little interesting strategy here as they're down by Ferry Pier in Primorsk, looking to come ashore, maybe get some loot. How do you end up in the water swimming at this point in the game, given the plane path where it was at? I don't know what's going on with this strategy, but maybe going to secure a boat here. I don't know, but X-Force has got the big brain plays going on so far, Seven.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I don't know how they ended up in the water as well. If they maybe misjudged their drop, or how far away they were from Primorsk, or whatever the case might have been. But for that team, I mean, one thing that we have seen, especially when it goes to circles, that we're currently being able to see as well on this match, is that they tend to rotate early on towards the south. They tend to rotate early on towards military. With how much there is of the northern island, I don't think that team is going to be rotating towards the south. I don't think they're going to be going towards that military island, wide south rotation, putting Fate in a glider, doing all of that. So I'm intrigued to see how this team is going to be reacting to this circle. Are they just going to be full sending it? Are they going to be a little bit more tactical and play it slow, get all of the intel that they can? Because that's something that they were doing in the last match, and it ended up working out for them in regards to them being able to collect points overall. They're currently sitting at 6 after 2 matches. Not the pop-off performances that we're seeing out of Wolves, but it is at least something.
Absolutely. Teams starting to rotate right now. Again, the southeastern circle in this one. Everybody going to be trying to secure their position in zone, but we got a little interview lined up from Baton from last game's winner. We'll go ahead and go to that now.
Chicken dinner for Wolves. Sports. Congratulations, Baton. We're starting this week as we expected for it to be. Last week wasn't that good. Yeah. What have you guys changed for this one and the next one?
A little bit of our game style. I will not tell exactly what we changed, but like we were trying to fix our mistakes. It was like a lot of personal mistakes, and I think we will fix it. We're trying to be just more confident to the finals and just try to fix everything that we can.
I mean, a win like this is a confidence booster. You had like 3 teams in front of you that you had to eliminate to get to the center. It was a tough ending that you had to fight, and you took the fights and you guys won them. How are you feeling about it?
Just feeling good. Like
this is the confidence you needed.
Yeah, we have a good gun skills. We have a good like teamwork, and we're just trying to show it.
You guys showed it there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's go back.
I like it. They really didn't say much about big changes. You didn't know what big strategic changes they made, but just kind of took accountability for the fact that all of the team really could have played better last week, and so they all took it upon themselves to make personal improvements and play with more confidence, and ultimately it's really shown. I mean, they're taking fights when they should, pushing the action when they should, playing passive when they should, and so far it's been a different Wolves team in week number 2-7.
Yeah, and it is right now. I mean, I'm looking at them. I know we're currently looking at Inco Gaming, but for Wolves, they're making some early rotations. They're making sure that they loot up and then find those vehicles and start setting up for what the circle is going to be giving them. If it is at this point, try to go towards the center. And one thing that I do enjoy that he said as well was that they know they have the fragging power. They know that they have really good players in this squad. They just need to be able to adjust. They just need to be able to make sure that they are actually putting up that performance to get results like we were just able to see. So with this team, I'm hoping that it's, and this is why I picked them, I'm hoping it's just not a one-off thing. With the improvements that they have shown me so far from week 1 and now for coming into week 2 and also putting up good performances, getting that win finally out of the way, putting some pressure off your shoulders in a way, showing that you can actually win in this lobby. It's exactly what you want to see out of a team from NA.
Got an interesting development happening too with Team Liquid, 9Z, Wolves, and Intense Game all kind of circling the farm right now. Action could be breaking out at any moment. Wolves have just grouped up. They're in a 2-2 split right now. Dorn and Baton, Juancho and Coops, and Cardozan coming to scout the front line as well. So at any moment, things could get a bit touch and go. You see in the distance there, Team Liquid zooming around. 9Z, Reyes just came a moment ago up to the compound where Coops was at. He got himself a little, feel for what's going on. Maybe heard some footsteps and backed off. So teams playing a bit tentative right now, but a lot of the top teams in this lobby a stone's throw away from one another, 7.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Influence Rage, this is the team that I want to see what they can do. They have 4 points. This is Dave. This is not the Influence Rage that we're expected to see. Same along the lines of Team Liquid.
Yeah, Team Liquid, Team Influence Rage. We definitely saw them picking up the heat last week. We had that one day off, had the opportunity to do a lot of VOD reviews, self-reflecting like we heard in the interview right there, and just trying to constantly improve. So Influence in their vehicles, they were ready to go here. Next circle does pop. We are going to be sending this one a little bit to the east side right now. Milk of Power. You already know Savage Esports feeling a little dumbfounded because they dropped Milk of Power. They moved out of Milk of Power, and it looks like Alpha 7 ended up backfilling them. But popping on over here to Shoot to Survive, another team who they told us they're changing up their play style just a little bit. They're looking to be more aggressive here today. Really haven't found their stride yet here in the first 2 games. And well, talk about finding the stride here. Bios with the winner chicken dinner they already had here today. They are going to be currently sitting on 1 elimination point. Looks like they were trying to keep Coops at bay, who might have been doing some scouting over here for the Wolves here at PB.
So impressed with the rotations of Alpha 7. They landed one of the farthest teams away from this circle, which was hard shifted all the way to the eastern side of the island. Alpha 7 landed in North Georgia Pole, looted up there, and they are the ones that are already in position, waiting on the zone shift, and it does come to them. They have one of the better spots in the zone, and you mentioned them kind of backfilling that position that a team had already moved out from in Milk to Power, and now Alpha 7 has a dominant position in this zone. They're going to be waiting on loops to roll up on them any moment, but now we've got Shoot to Survive in early action again against ROW19, and they get the early jump right now. Bob down, but it is a trade early on as they try to eliminate Royals of War. So.
And for a team that wants to be aggressive, right now is the time to be aggressive. You don't want to allow anybody else to get too close and end up third partying. And talking about that, 9T is going to be showing up. Remix has been putting up great performances. Cold Gold, a previous MVP of PMSL America, is just picking people apart. And they do know that Casper... do they know? Or do they not know? Okay, now they definitely know that Casper is going to still be alive. Going to be able to find Cold Gold. Trying to see if he can pick him up. He's not going to be able to. Shoot to Survive, get eliminated. And on top of that, 9C Global, 5 eliminations. They're going to be able to pick up Cold Gold right here. I mean, Remix, I got to give props to Remix. Remix is currently putting up an insane performance for only being with this team for such a short time and for the amount of caliber of players, too. the veteran players that are currently within that team, to be a standout fragger and to be a standout player, it's impressive to see, PB.
100%. Remix has been standing out all tournament long. He's been clutch game after game for them. And I want to say, like, you know, Shoot to Survive, they've gotten into this early action. They've been picking up, you know, frags here and there. That was a little bit unfortunate for me, as I thought, you know, the last player alive went for the elim. They went for the finish instead of just going for Remix. And had they gotten Remix down, they would have gotten 2 points for the price of 1 there. And that was an interesting decision for sure. But Remix takes advantage, gets it done for his squad. And 9G, they're looking good, man. They're you know, it's not perfect by any means, but they're aggressive when they should be. Colgoat's doing tricks in cars, jumping over the, you know, the cliff sides when there's fights going on. You love to see it. Little style points in line there for 9Z as well, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, Remix was definitely dead to rights right there, and going for the flush just wasn't the play, and well, they found out the hard way. And another thing, while that was erupting, Rose of War, remember, they were the team that actually took the fight initially to Shoot to Survive, and David saw 9Z kind of rotating around the prey, and David's like, I'm out of here, and was able to kind of yeet it to shelter. Unfortunate for him, though, next circle does pop, and we will be getting another Eastern shift, so David will need to move just a little bit and hopefully avoid X-Force, who we saw moments ago kind of rotating in the general area near prison that INF have been holding down for a good amount of time right now. So INF, they're going to be trying to keep X-Force at bay and also United for Gaming, and it looks like United for Gaming looking to try to avoid this fight. They're actually be doubling back just a little bit north and possibly going towards the shorelines over there. So INF, Influence Rage, they're going to be up here still. They're chilling in the north, just defending their territory.
You thought maybe somebody was going to be there for Influence Rage. Currently 1 elimination to their name. And as I'm looking at the map, I don't know if we can maybe pull up the map, but one thing I do want to point out for X-Force is sometimes they just tend to spread out in weird situations, especially if they are currently outside of the circle, especially if they are currently in a situation where they don't need to be spread out this much. You can see there towards the north west of your screen, top left, if you want to go straight in the map, just being a little bit too spread out. If for some reason 9C would have decided to crash that, I don't think they would have been able to react just in time. Right now, for Valak, see if you can maybe get a knock. See if maybe you can get one of those tires for that vehicle. Luckily for him, I think they were able, there you go. They were able to pick up Reyes on that trade. But sometimes they just tend to stretch out too much and it ends up hindering. Right here, I do enjoy how much quickly they're starting to get closer to each other. In the past, it took a little bit longer. There was that hesitation. So I think, PB, it might be that just that team chemistry is starting to come to fruition in a way for X-Force. Finally starting to get things dialed in.
Yeah, you heard him at the start of the broadcast. Maybe not quite as comfortable with one another just yet. New players on the roster. A couple of them had played together before, but still feeling things out. And that's to be expected, I think, for newer squads coming into this tournament. But they've got not a lot of time to prove themselves, because at the end of these 3 days, that is going to close league phase. And at that point, they'll be taking a bunch of head start points into those finals, and they want to secure as many as humanly possible. And right now, they are looking up the leaderboard at 8 other teams, so surely they want to try to perform better. They've got plenty of opportunities to do so as 9Z gets caught out again. Good shots from the vehicle here by Diego. He is absolutely lacing these opponents, but they got to be careful before they drive into Savage Esports. It seems like they realize it, maybe pump the brakes a bit, Dave.
Yeah, a lot of drive-bys happening right now in the north as teams are just fighting for the terrain in Lumber Mill. Little boy still leaning out the window, trying to take some shots on the second story of United for Gaming. SVG done and dusted. It looks like the call is coming in to finally push this building, and they are going to be able to secure it for the time being. Alpha 7, though, Revo, he's been overlooking this the whole time. Alpha 7 with a little 2-2 split, pre-center in the new circle, so they're going to be sitting pretty comfortable for the time being. Already here, 7 sitting on 3 elimination points in a prime spot right now at the new circle.
That's right. I'm impressed at the way that they were able to rotate. A team that actually ended up going George because of the playing path that they had. They ended up rotating northeast just to Lipovka, usually where they end up going east of prison all the way down to Milta Power when there was nobody there. And it seems VIP decided to follow that strategy too, because VIP as well ended up being in Milta Power. I'm intrigued to see how those teams will end up fighting and where the circle will end up going. And just opposite, I know we currently have Inco Gaming and IG on the screen, but just opposite of what I was saying for X-Force, this is what I'm used to seeing from Alpha 7, just that 2-2 split. Now going back towards this fight, Inco Gaming versus IG, we got 7 pulling out the shotgun. He knows that some of the other teams, some of the other players might end up getting different angles. You need to be careful though. Vios Gaming is going to be getting different angles on them. Grenades are going to be coming in from Inco, connecting there with Intense Game. Intense Game, nothing seems to be going their way at the moment, as they are able to at least find McCrellan. More than likely trying to confirm it. There you go. Rafa is going to be able to confirm that elimination. They need to be careful though. Vios Gaming PB is looking to third party this fight.
I hope they do. Vios is fun to watch, man. I felt like they were the agent of chaos last week, and so far this week, they're off to a pretty good start, sitting in 4th overall right now in week 2, winning the first game of the day, but getting stabbed to death in game number 2. So happily, they'll take 4 players alive, kind of moving towards mid to late game here in this one. Shots are being fired by Vios for sure, and this is a team that's been very enjoyable to watch so far during this PMSL Americas 2025, Dave.
Oh, here they come. Vios now looking to take the fight as Inco popping in vehicles, looking to rotate. 7 right there, taking out their vehicle, but Barozen still alive. M4 shotgun trying to carry the flag into the zone here. 2 slugs, let's see, playing a ring around the rosy, missing the first one, and Vios Gaming 3 eliminations right there to the
beautiful third party
pocket. But here comes the Wolves here, 7. The Wolves, they heard the action. They're going to be looking to gatekeep potentially Vios Gaming, but they also need to avoid X-Force, who are also in the area.
I like this from Wolves. I like it. Not even really having to worry about that. They know that that fight is going to end up being pretty soon outside of the circle and starting to focus more in their positioning. That has been one of the biggest question marks for this team. Sometimes getting distracted. That's a great adjustment. I mean, that just goes to show that this team has definitely adjusted a lot of stuff that they were able to do phase 1 and why they were able to get that win earlier in that previous match as well. Coops now going for that off angle. Risky area to drive too. Let me tell you, boys, whenever I end up driving here, I'm for sure crashing into at least 7 trees.
Well, Coops just connects with 1 for a moment, not too long, which is good for him. But Juancho actually chucked a nade through the window, did 62 damage, and he didn't know that, but nearly connected with Nunez there as Nunez goes down to a car explosion, and Vios is out of the lobby. So not what they were hoping for, but Wolves, you gotta give a tip of the cap to them for their timing on the third party. They were able to capitalize, pick up a few elims on that fight with Vios and Inco, ultimately helping both teams leave the lobby early. They still have full strength right now in a decent position in the northern part of the zone, and they've got potentially X-Force to deal with now as well. Freepoint loses a couple of team members. It's just him and Valak trying to make things work here towards the end. Getting a nice little position in this valley, but Loops is right on top of him, Dave.
Yeah, let's see what Loops can do here in the north. And yeah, going back to the Wolves, I mean, their discipline tonight has just been on point. Some teams, they might see the potential points out there and they might push it. They might look to get into the fight, but Wolves really have been using these circles to their advantage and letting the points come to them here tonight. And it's been working. But X-Force Valak, popping up Loops, pulling up into the bull and taking them out here, 7.
Valak not able to connect with those shots right there. Loops coming in, making sure they clear everybody from X-Force that was remaining within that spot. By the way, Coops has ended up getting eliminated from Wolves Esports, but now Wolves Esports were able to clear some players. I believe that was IG that they were able to clear. Baton stepping up, 2 eliminations for his name. Right now, the main team that they have to worry about is that Loops right there. They are going to have a numbers disadvantage, but I think they realize that Loops is in a bad position. Sad part for Doran that I'm currently looking at, he only has 1 grenade. So even if he did get within nade range, you're not going to be able to do much. You usually have to follow it up with a lot more. Using that smoke. He has a Molotov as well in case they do end up getting closer. Stopping any push would help them out. This is a fight that you just kind of want to back off. You don't want to end up fighting right here. You want to start thinking about what the next circle is going to be doing. That's what Doran's going to start realizing. way too close. You don't want to be within that nade range, PB.
You really don't, man. Good job to get out of there. He was kind of in a tough spot because it's hard to see, but All Glory Gaming on the far left-hand side of this shot is looking up at the Wolves. It was actually Fran from down in the compound that took Coops out already, so they know they've got third-party fire coming in from down the hillside right now. It's not just Loops who's right in front of them. It's not just Influence Rage over the hill. They've got to deal with quite a few angles right now, so a really nice heads-up play from Doran and Wolves to stay alive. And this one, Loops, now they know they have to rotate. They're not going to stick around for the fight right now. Incoming fire from multiple squads. They hit the rotation, but they got to get south to that zone as it has Pop Stage 6's live, and there's minimal time to try to secure a new position, Dave.
VIP, this is VIP's moment to shine. They got Loops coming right towards them. VIP were in a nice position to take some shots at Loops, but VIP are actually on the outside of the warehouses, not in the warehouses. So Loops are able to really make it to cover here. Rafina should be able to get picked up, but you see the crash from Loops. That's the moment that you want to see VIP just chuck in the utility, tossing the Molotovs, tossing the grenades, hit them while they're hurt. But it looks like VIP all kind of hovering behind that phone pool, that tower right there, using it for cover, compared to taking the aggression of Loops. And they're smoking their position too.
They're being careful as well because Alpha 7 did end up shooting them too. They're being careful because the Alpha 7 was looking to third party. Meanwhile, Wolves being forced to push in as they just really didn't have any cover. Now VIP making that push, being a little bit aggressive like Dave wanted to see them, wanting to take the fight here to Loop Esports. Gonna be able to get one. Only 2 players left standing here from VIP. They're gonna be switching around. Can they actually wipe Loop Esports? And they are. There's no water nearby. And that is when VIP ends up excelling, PB.
Let's go.
No flippers needed for this engagement. VIP getting it done against Loops, and I like the fact that Loops was even able to get here. They probably shouldn't have been here. They were far north out of the zone, up by Wolves right now, but the decisiveness, the urgency to act immediately gets them into the circle, and they're able to make it just a bit longer, pick up a few more elims. Another decent performance from Loops as they inch up that leaderboard. We've got Baton, though, still alive from Wolves up north right now. He's the solo player left for the Wolves. Not for long, though. He's gone. Everybody knew he was up there. We had AGG looking at him, Influence Rage looking at him. Even Alpha 7 was looking up there a little bit. But I got to point out Alpha 7's position in zone yet again. They're dead center. I mean, just the fact that they were the furthest team away from this circle but continue to be in prime position right now, you got to look at them as one of the favorites to win this round as they still have a full squad. Already up to 5 eliminations here too, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, they win this game without a doubt. It really depends on the Team Liquid fight. Team Liquid have been in the south playing this one nice and slow, nice and calm. They got 1 elimination point. So depending on if Team Liquid can get like an opening knock within that building with a grenade or whatnot, if Alpha 7 come out on top, they're winning this without a doubt. So they let everybody kind of have 2 games of hey, you guys do what you want. But now we're getting to the halfway mark of today. They're like, okay, we're clocking in. We're looking to take back our spot in the overall. We'll see. I'm pretty confident, though. Alpha 7 with their 5 elimination points here so far. Let's see where the next circle takes us. We got the Zarky Bros right over there to the north as well. So yeah, Alpha 7, yeah, they're gonna be able to take out Team Liquid, no problem here. And this is not to get too far ahead of myself here, 7 Worlds, but this is Alpha 7's game all damn day.
No, I'm with you. I think this game, I mean, this is why PB picked them. This is why I was even thinking about picking them, but I just wanted to see something crazy out of NA, because there's no way that team that was able to perform the way that they were able to was going to have 3 mulligans back to back to back. That just wasn't going to be the case, and they readjusted to it. I mean, even with the early rotation from that team, they realized what was going on. They realized what had happened in the previous games. And which one was it? That they kept losing players earlier on. What is this now? Top 5 situation, or 4 players are alive for Alpha 7. That is just an absolute nightmare for everybody else. And for Team Liquid, I mean, I don't even know how Team Liquid is going to be making any type of push for Alpha 7, because maybe if they wait for the circle a little bit longer, Influence Rage won't try to shoot at them. Alpha 7 will then end up seeing them. Team Liquid reminds me right now of what happened to Wolves, just in a lose-lose situation. And Team Liquid also had to use a lot of utility earlier on. So I'm not sure what's going to be happening here with this team. And on top of that, you can see they're just being a little bit more aggressive here. They're looking to see if maybe they can catch somebody off Influence Rage, because if they can, then it will open up the door to try to make a push there to Alpha 7. But Alpha 7 trying to surprise Alpha 7, trying to take him out from a compound. It's something that we don't see quite often, PB.
Poor Influence Rage. Everyone in the lobby's looking at them right now, and even All Glory Gaming's across the street pushing up on them right now, trying to get those points. Melgar able to do so successfully, taking down Lil Boy. It's all up to Lorenzen right now on that left flank, trying to hold the line, and he's not able to. And now Law's the only one left up for Influence Rage. Can he get it done? Connects with the shotgun, and Melgar picks up 3 for All Glory Gaming. Huge points right now. You mentioned NA teams. They're not out of it just yet. We've got VIP Esports still with 3 members alive in the compound right now. Only Alpha 7 has a compound in the circle. The garage of VIP's house looks to be in play as well. Everyone else needs to be on the move. This is going to be a challenge for All Glory Gaming, as they've got to find a new spot, work themselves in, and still Team Liquid on the outskirts right now, trying to assault Alpha 7's compound to get them flushed out. Dave, are they going to be able to do it? Looks like Mafioso connects with Ayala here.
Yeah, it looks like A7 might be running out of utility. At least Revo was no grenades, no Molotovs. Team Liquid might have a little more in the pocket. We're going to be tucking out our last grenades here to really flush them out behind this little ridge, while also keeping sight lines on AGG, looking to get that rotate right now. So honestly, Alpha 7 with the hard cover, if they can take out Team Liquid right now, who they're not dying. I mean, they keep getting knocked, but they keep getting revived because of this little ridge here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that grenade was beautiful from Legend, from VIP with the third party.
That was absolutely insane. You got Squash Boo right now on the outside flank from Alpha 7. He's the only player looking this direction for A7, holding off Team Liquid. You got VIP across the street helping with the third party. Cardozan just doing everything he can to keep Team Liquid in this one. As inevitable as it was, Team Liquid finally goes out of the lobby. VIP trying to stir things up with 2 members left as well, but it's going to come down to Alpha 7 and All Glory Gaming here. AGG did a great job pushing up on this house when Alpha 7 was distracted with Team Liquid, and now 3 members of the squad are all looking over at AGG. You've got Mafioso, Revo, and Carrillo all looking at AGG. Legend is going to be squaring off with Squash here shortly, but Squash did such a fantastic job holding that flank for Alpha 7. He was able to single-handedly hold back Team Liquid.
I'm glad you pointed out there what happened with AGG, because AGG made that great heads-up play. No hesitation out of them so far today. Alpha 7 now looking to finish off the last players there from VIP Esports. If they're able to do this, the main worry for Alpha 7 is going to be right there. It's actually Melgar, because Melgar does have an off angle on all of this fighting going on. And on top of that, he's going to have the high ground as well, and he has it backed up by cover. Now, for AGG, I'm hoping that not everybody goes towards the top of that mountain. I'm hoping they do have at least one player that's going to be getting an off angle, waiting for Alpha 7 to get out of the house, because that will give them the opening to get a win. Now, Melgar, the rest of the squad from AGG, causing a lot of trouble for Alpha 7 here. What looked like to be like he could possibly be an easy win for Alpha 7 is becoming a little bit harder because of just how many teams were focused with Alpha 7, causing distractions. Mafioso's gonna be finding Melgar. Melgar, for some reason, decides to push up, trying to prioritize the center of the circle, and All Glory Gaming just pushing up closer and closer, and it seems like they're just throwing an opportunity for a win and giving it to Alpha 7.
That was an absolutely insane play. Saw what they were trying to do, but not able to work it out on the front lines. Comes down to M2M in the background right now. The only player up for All Glory Gaming, trying to regroup. It's Carrillo up, leading the Alpha 7 charge. He's going to pick up some points really quickly here before going for the revive. In come the nades, though, and it is not on target to take down Squash, and I believe that might have been his last utility. Now the push comes in. It's a 3v1. Not able to connect, and Alpha 7 takes home the winner chicken dinner. Holy cow, what an end to that one. It looked like All Glory Gaming was going to be able to challenge, but just a bit out of sorts on that final push, 7.
Yeah, for AGG, I think they definitely had to push out because of the circle was going to be going to them. But in one of those situations, you kind of have to sacrifice a player. Sacrifice a player, leave him up there, leave him getting the off angle, leave him just trying to keep distracting Alpha 7 that's currently on the low ground, and see if you can get one of those players just getting that off angle on the back of Alpha 7. They would have been perfectly lined up for you right there on the street. Yeah, it would have been smokes, there would have been all that, but if you have nades, if you have utility, it would have been honestly an easy win for AGG. Great plan, but just poor execution. And for Alpha 7, this is what we're expecting.
Hey, you know, I gotta say, props to AGG for making it to yet another final circle. This is the second game in a row where they've been there at the last, and so they've got to be feeling good coming out of this one. So we take a peek at our game one action, but man, oh man, I gotta say, you know, I felt like it was the right time for AGG to push, but they only sent Melgar. I felt like they should have sent 2 there and had one person hold down that back line. Instead, they send 2 back. But, yeah, you know, it seemed like the moment, Dave, 2 Alpha 7 members were down on their knees at the moment, and they only had 2 to defend, and the push was too little too late from AGG.
Yeah, so close right there for Alpha 7, but they just kept their composure, really, and just focused on getting those resets when they had the moment to do so. So, Alpha 7, 14 eliminations, but VIP, let's go. 7 eliminations heading over to the Zarky Bros with a 3rd place finish. This was a nice little position that they were holding down to, as still, listen, Team Liquid, they only walk away with 1 elimination point, but the fact that they were able to get so many resets behind that little ridge right there, extremely impressive, because you gotta have the cleanest team comms ever, right? You got grenades getting tossed at you left and right. You got people shooting at you from behind boulders, but somehow you're still able to call out the call to pick me up, I'm safe. And they got the full squad reset at the end. So Team Liquid going to be walking away with the 4th place. But guys, the winner chicken dinner here of this match, Alpha 7. They were nowhere to be found the first 2 games, and they're showing up here, making up for lost ground right now in this game.
Man, they are. Mafioso doing the heavy lifting in this one. Over 1,000 damage, 6 elims, 6 knockouts for his performance there. But honestly, I thought it was his play at the very end to push up that hill, not wait around for AGG to mount that offensive. He pushed up the hill and took down Melgar to secure that victory, I feel, for Alpha 7. As we take a peek at our match standings here, Alpha 7 putting up 24 points at this one, and the Wolves only pick up 6 here. So the gap between first place is definitely closing right here. But, you know, like I mentioned before, All Glory Gaming out of Mexico, a second top 3 here in 2 matches. So, 7, you got to like All Glory Gaming's momentum going in here to Game 4.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the adjustments that this team has made from phase 1 to now phase 2. Little things here and there. I mean, execution there would have been perfect. They would have ended up with the chicken dinner. One thing I got to give props to